Hello, guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin. I am joined as ever by Mr. Matt Turner. And Matt Turner, if this week has taught me anything, it is that you should never, ever listen to a Stardom Cast prediction, because today, my friend, we are obviously going through Tag League. We were both so certain of our winners. Now, obviously, we are only at the moment 5 shows in. However, me and Matt so sure of our predictions. Sure enough, 1 win out of 4. Yes, we are back to our usually scheduled programming with our predictions, my friend.
Yeah, enough of this. Last year we got the both got Wing Gory right. You
Yeah.
got Momo Watanabe right in the 5-star
Mhm.
this year. I got Micah right in the 5-star last year. We both had Sayaka Korora right. Back-to-back winners in the Dream Star Grand Prix from Marigold. So here we literally got to a point we need to be knocked down a peg or two.
We do, absolutely.
We need to be knocked down a peg. However, Rob, obviously we're going to get into it. We have 4 shows to cover today. But with the brackets now, from we didn't know this last week when we recorded, because everything was last minute, and again we know now why everything was last minute yet again, because of who X was. Like, didn't see that coming. It really seems like all you need is 4 or 5 points to make the playoffs, because it's the top 3 in each bracket. So there's still a possibility. There's still a possibility. Holding on to hope, my man. Holding on to hope. But how's everything with you? I know usually on Wednesdays, I know that you said that you're back at practicing what we call soccer. You call football. Did you participate in the reindeer games that is football yesterday?
I did indeed. We had a lovely week. Monday, Tuesday, weather was absolutely gorgeous. So, of course, Wednesday absolutely tipped it down. And it was freezing cold while we were playing football, because that's just what happens. But yeah, everything at the moment is going relatively smoothly. Did a lot more running this week. I'm back on the treadmill. Slowly working up the strength. I've got very, very little pain in the knee now. It's very stiff once I've practiced, obviously. But it's getting to a point now where it's just strengthening the, especially the whichever one is in the right of my left knee. I can't remember which one it is, whether it's the MCL or the LCL. I can't remember. But whatever it is on that side, the right hand side of my left knee, that's the bit that's very, very stiff and is certainly the weakest part of the knee. So I don't want to rush it. I'm very conscious of not wanting to do it again, because it was a pretty substantial injury. So I don't want to go through that again, because, Matt, and I don't know if you know this, I'm not getting any younger. And I think one more significant injury might be my forced retirement from football, especially if Kirsty has anything to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the idea, buddy. We get older every day. That's the plan. That's the plan. But
not a fan of this plan, mate. Not a fan of it.
Well, what's the other option? You know what I mean? That we wake up, we're not breathing. So this is, as Bruce Dickinson says, choose life, buddy. No, that was the guy from Wham, George Michael. I think that's it. But I heard Bruce Dickinson about a year ago. I heard Bruce Dickinson on Chris Jericho's podcast, which we're on twice, by the way, not to put ourselves over, saying he did say choose life, it's the better option. So that's basically where I got.
There you go. I was very confused how you'd managed to get George Michael and Bruce Dickinson.
Yeah. By the way, obviously we have a lot to talk about, and there's a lot of exciting things going on in the world of both me and you. We're excited about a lot of great stuff going on. Did you see the tour that Iron Maiden is doing for next year?
I didn't actually know.
It is now. I don't know if it's a world tour or if we're just getting it in the States. It is Iron Maiden, the headliner, and then they are being supported by a little band called Megadeth, and they are being supported by another little band called Anthrax. So it's like,
I imagine that if that tour comes through the Northeast, you will be there in a shot, I imagine.
September 26th in Hershey, Pennsylvania, the same place where I saw Slayer. So almost a year. They're giving us almost a year's notice. But yes, there is. We've already, myself, my dad, and Jeff are, my concert buddies. We have all told our significant others we're going. Like, that's it. Like, that's 3 of my top 6 or 7 favorite all-time bands. So yeah, all in one place. Hell yeah.
You're gonna have to work on your cardio though, bro, because moshing for 3 bands straight, you've got to get that cardio up, my friend.
I did it now again. Obviously, as you said, we're getting older. I did do it 15 years ago for the Big Four when it was Anthrax and then Megadeth and then Slayer and then
I
Metallica.
remember that gig being advertised. Yeah.
But there was no moshing during Metallica because everybody was just watching the show. I think everybody got their aggression out during Slayer. So
yeah, true.
I actually air sabooed, R.I.P. to the late great Sabu. I air sabooed myself into the mosh pit because there were people on all fours and people were just jumping off them, and I'm like, hell yeah! So I air sabooed myself into the mosh pit. Only done once, probably never be done again, but yeah, really exciting stuff. Now, Rob, going. Speaking of exciting, I'm always I'm a happy-go-lucky person.
Absolutely.
Doesn't take me much for me to get out of bed and really kick the day's ass, right? I'm
Correct.
super duper double looper excited this week, and I'm going to tell you why, good friend. Obviously, the elephant in the room, the thing in front of us, 4 fantastic shows from Stardom. Got some great stuff on tap from Marigold. Sendai Girls has decided that Miko Satomura from Sendai Girls has decided she wants to throw her hat in it for Booker of the Year because some of
Absolutely.
these Sendai Girl shows we have coming up, especially this Sunday, look absolutely fantastic. This Saturday, I get to hang out with Andy Header, little road trip. Myself and Andy Header going to the big event in New York where we're going to meet Sting, possibly the Great Muta because I know he's going to be there, Medusa, and I do have
Nice.
a message for Medusa from one Allison Danger. So that's always entertaining when Allison tells me to tell somebody something.
Absolutely.
Tekla and Mina Shirakawa, though, and the Jumping Bomb Angels are all on the docket for
Oh, that's
Saturday.
cool. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
And I get to hang out. I get the little road trip with Andy Header. I get to hang out with him for the day. So that's all exciting. You know what else is exciting? Rob Goodwin, by chance, did you watch a little show yesterday called AEW Dynamite Blood and Guts?
Literally took the words out of my mouth, my friend, when you mentioned Tekla and Mina Shirakawa. My next statement was going to be if they can make it, because good grief, the women put the men on blast. I've only watched the women's match so far. I haven't seen the men's match yet, or well, anything from that show apart from the women's match, should I say? But yeah, I don't know how you follow that. They were given the ball, and not only did they run with it, they're gone, mate. They are a dot in the distance with that ball. I mean, Megan Bayne, geez, I mean, take a bow. Like, you talk about dedication to your craft. The air miles she must be rocking up, and we're going to talk about it obviously very, very shortly. You know, rocking up. She's done 4 dates in Stardom. She's flown back, done Blood and Guts. She's then going back to Japan for a double shot in Sapporo, then going back for AEW, then flying back to finish the tour in Stardom. Now, obviously, we were very lucky to meet Megan Bayne in Las Vegas, and genuinely one of the nicest, most chatty people we met during the entire trip. She was an absolute delight to talk to. We must have talked to her genuinely for about 20 minutes.
At
Like,
least.
just absolutely just talking Stardom, Japan, how she wants to go back, and knowing how much she wanted to go back, and just how she's making what is an absolutely nightmarish schedule work. I mean, we're going to be talking about the PWI Women's 250 a little bit later on. For this alone, she needs to be considered higher because that's an outrageous amount of It does mean that you're probably not going to meet her on Saturday, the big event.
No, I think we talked about it off air. I'm like, I think she was scheduled for this, and you're like, yeah, not now. So yeah, Joey Janela just put something out on Twitter about 2 hours ago that he just dropped Megan Bayne off at the airport, and off she is to Japan. So as we speak, buddy, she's in the air to Japan. So yeah, again, you touched upon it. We talked about it when we did our Vegas review a few months ago. We got a picture taken with Megan Bayne, and we just kept talking about Stardom. And then she said, like, people only come and talk about my stuff with AEW. They talk a little bit about Stardom. We kept talking about it. Yeah, it was at least 15, 20 minutes. And she apologized to us, like, guys, I'm sorry to take up your time. Like, no, Megan Bayne, winner of the Tag League.
What do you think we're doing otherwise here? This is awesome for us.
Yeah, like we were absolutely. She go, guys, I'm so sorry that I'm taking up your time, and we're like, no, we can literally. And it's so funny because I'm always plugging the podcast. And when we got back to our hotel room, and was telling Amber about the conversation we had with Megan Bayne. She's like, oh, was she going to come on the show? And I was like, I never asked her. She goes, you literally ask everybody to come on the show. Yeah. You had a 20-minute conversation with Megan Bayne about Stardom, and you never mentioned, hey, by the way,
awesome.
Yeah, well, again, she was so great, and yeah, she kept mentioning how bad she wanted to go back. She's so happy Stardom and AEW they have this working relationship, and that she asks every now and again if she can go back, but kind of figured over the last month or so it's probably not going to happen because she's been on TV and in a prominent role just about every week. And again, we'll talk about the fact that like she came out as Hanako's tag partner, and I'm like, how is this going to work? I'm like, well, I guess they're going to make it work. So good on her. The one other thing I do want to talk about, and again, that blood and guts match was unbelievable. Everybody was great.
Insanity.
Everybody was
Sky
great.
Blue, man. Honestly, like talk about developed wrestlers. She's found a niche, and good God, has she bedded herself in that. She was all over that, wasn't she? That gif that's going around of her just absolutely
Mooted.
covered. Yeah, Muta. It is the Muta scale of blood, and just screaming, "This is my match." I was like, hell yeah, it is. Go on, Sky.
Yeah. And I, obviously, again, I was excited about that. You know what else I was excited about? About an half an hour after that, Rob Goodwin, an appearance from my all-time favorite wrestler, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
so,
I did see that was going to happen. Yeah.
yeah, I think Ric Flair was supposed to be there, but I think he came out beforehand that he is having a problem with his rotator cuff, so they didn't want him
Something
on.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's all exciting, Rob. Obviously, this weekend and everything, the show's coming up are exciting. But you know what the most exciting thing the past few days that happened to me was, Rob? I think you know what it is. And I'm going to tell you, and most importantly, our listeners.
Oh my God, did you finally watch Jurassic Park?
I watched Jurassic Park. No, I didn't. I didn't. I threw you a softball. So, Rob, yesterday I'm sitting in this very chair, and I hear a knock at my door. And I go to look outside that window, which when you look outside said window, you can kind of see who's on the porch. And I see the FedEx truck, and I'm thinking, I think I know what that is. So I go to run downstairs, and my wife has already beat me to the door. Now, you have to remember, Rob, that we are in Christmas gift giving season. So the packages are already starting to come in. So I'm thinking, I know what this FedEx package is, but my wife, it's something that you have to sign for. So soon, my wife is probably thinking, this is something for me, something for somebody, whether either, our daughter or for the nephews for Christmas. And then she notices three things back to back to back. One, the package is not for her. Two, the return address is in Japan. Three, I'm coming down the stairs and this giant smile on my face. And she looks at me and she goes, what did I just sign for from Japan? And I was like, this is it. She's like, what did I sign for? I was like, this is it. I can't believe they came. I just bought these 4 days ago. I can't believe they came. I said, those are our tickets. She's like, our tickets? I said, yep. For Wrestle Kingdom 20 and Dream Queendom 4, we have our official tickets. I was so beyond thrilled. I took them out and I was like, wow, look at these. I don't know any words on here other than Dream Queendom 1229 and Wrestle Kingdom 20. They had the seats there because I did have to pick them up on this website that's basically like a Japanese StubHub. So after I bought them, I'm like, I wonder if our seats are going to be together, but they are in numerical order. So our seats are together.
Awesome.
If not, yes. So, I mean, regardless, I wouldn't have mattered. Trying to be in the building.
I'll sit in the aisle at this point. Right?
I don't have my head. So I was like, wow, this is actually happening. So thrilled about that. Tokyo Joshi Pro, I did get our tickets, which I did make mention to you off air a few times. We just have to pick them up at will call and Korakuen Hall in Korakuen Hall. So we're going to the Tokyo Dome. We're going to Korakuen Hall. We are going to Sumo Hall. Obviously, a couple other things that we're going to be working out. More than likely, we're going to be going to Nippon Budokan, the house that Misawa built, as I always say for Pro Wrestling Noah. But folks, it's coming down. We're about 6 weeks away from literally, a massive dream for me. And it's a lot to be excited about, partner. A lot to be excited about. Again, all this great wrestling we're going to be talking about, all the stuff coming up in the future. I get to hang out with Andy Heder, and then me and you get to go to Japan, my man. We've been talking about it for years, and once I opened up those tickets, I was like, this is real. In the words of Kurt Angle, it's real. It's damn real.
It is damn real. And obviously, we're going to make the most of while we're out there. Obviously, there's a whole heap of shows. I mean, even just before we came on, we were having a look at All Japan's schedule, weren't we? And they've got 2 shows that we might, definitely one I'd like to go to, the second. Maybe the show on the 31st as well, because it's in the afternoon in Yoyogi. So, yeah, there's loads and loads we want to do. It is suddenly becoming very real that it is happening. But yes, we will be in the Tokyo Dome for Tanahashi versus Okada Like, not only are we going to Wrestle Kingdom for the first time, Tokyo Dome for the first time, not only is there an enormously prevalent Stardom match on that card, Saya Kamatani versus Saori, but we get to see Tanahashi versus Okada, the last time, Tanahashi's final singles match. Brother, that alone is going to make my trip. Never mind, going to Dream Queendom, going to Marigold First Dream, going to, Nippon Budokan for Noah, going to all of these different incredible places. That might just be the moment that tips me over the edge.
Yeah, it's just a lot of great venues. And I was telling this to Amber, and obviously Amber, Amber and I have been together for 16 years, God bless her. So obviously I got into Japanese wrestling when I was 16, 17 years old. And it really hit me right around the time I was 17, 18. And this has been something that I've always wanted to do. So I was like, it's not only the shows, it's these venues. It's these legendary Like, I would love to go back in time and go to Sportatorium, which I walked on the grounds last year.
Yeah.
I forgot, but it's just the fact that we're going to Korakuen Hall and the Tokyo Dome and Sumo Hall. And you throw on top of it, like, the matches already are fantastic. Like Tanahashi versus Okada for the final time, like Tanahashi's final match. Like we talked about this. We were texting the other day. Man, we really lucked out. Like we had this plan for over a year that we were going to go, but the fact that it's Tanahashi's last match and they're getting Okada back in New Japan for one match. And I was telling you this the other day, that when they did the Ring of Honor New Japan show, WrestleMania weekend, was like 5 or 6 years ago, that it was supposed to be Tanahashi and Okada for the IWGP Championship in Madison Square Garden, because Tanahashi beat Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom and Okada won the New Japan Cup. But I think that the powers to be at New Japan at Ring of Honor were like, if it's Tanahashi versus Okada, again, it's, in my opinion, the greatest rivalry / feud in the history of wrestling. If it's Tanahashi versus Okada, we know Okada's going to win, but are people going to boo that because it might be a 50-50 crowd? And that's why they put the belt on Jay White, and then they put the belt back on Okada. So the fact that I was this close, I was like, man, this is supposed to be Tanahashi versus Okada, but I get it why they do it. Americans, they want to boo the heel, cheer the baby face, and it would have been a 50-50 crowd, and they wanted Okada to get the big pop at the end, which he did. So the fact that I was this close to seeing Tanahashi versus Okada a handful of years ago, now I'm going to get it. Then you're absolutely right. And then you're throwing Shuri versus Saya Kamatani on top of that, Yota Shuji versus Takeshita. That's going to be all sorts of fantastic. And even in the Tokyo Joshi Pro, we do have the main event announced for that show in Korakuen Hall, Suzumi versus Miyu Watanabe, which I'm really excited about. Things just really seem to line up for us. And I always say, the harder you work, the better person you are, the luckier that you get. And I think that a lot of those things kind of fell into place with us, buddy.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. So much to look forward to. And that was without talking about what could possibly come up at Dream Queendom, which obviously we are going to talk about as a result of the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League, which we'll be talking about very, very shortly. But before we do that, Matt, we should probably get this train back on the rails. And while we do that, or before we do that, let's talk about what is coming up on our Patreon this week. Good stuff.
Alternate commentary that was dropped because we cannot watch enough great Joshi tag team wrestling. The alternate commentary that I dropped on Monday, we go back to Flashing Champions last year, Mayu Iwatani and Hanan, also known as Eye Contact, taking on the team of the best friends of Fujimoto and one Arisa Nakajima. So that is already on your Patreon feed. Coming up this weekend, the complete run of Saori Anu's Wonder of Stardom Championship run. Yes, I've been teasing it for the past month. It's done. It's in the can. Andy Header just has to edit and put it up. That'll be in your feed over the weekend. And then my alternate commentary for next weekend, which more than likely will drop on Monday, is that we'll go back to the 2021 Goddess of Stardom Tag League of Dream H, Tam Nakano. Remember her teaming with one Mina Shirakawa to take on Momo Oz, Momo Watanabe, and Azumi. So that'll be a fun one to go back and call the action. And then there's going to be another one dropping on, another Patreon exclusive dropping on over the weekend. I don't know if it's going to be a roundtable discussion, tag team breakdown, or matches with Matt, but we'll have another one drop over on the weekend as well.
There you go. And I just want to give a huge shout out to brand new patrons over at patreon.com/the Stardom Cast. Thank you so much to Leoki. Thank you, Christopher Kane. Thank you, Quinn Edwards. And thank you to Christo Gibson as well. Thank you all for your support. Thank you to each and every member of our Patreon. honestly very humbling how many of you are over there supporting us. So thank you very, very much. And thank you to all of you that are listening to the podcast as well. If you want to support the podcast, obviously patreon.com/the Stardom Cast, with tiers beginning at just $1. Right, let's do one more subtle plug before we get into the news of the day. We had the pleasure of interviewing Sadie Gibbs of Marvelous and Sendai Girls fame at the moment, as she recovers from her ACL tear. And Matt, it was a lovely conversation with a ridiculously resilient wrestler, both physically and mentally.
Yeah, we got it. I mean, there's a lot we talked about. We talked about, her beginning. We talked about her injury. We talked about, mental health. We talked about fitness. I mean, obviously a lot of wrestling, her wrestling Mayu, her wrestling Chihiro Hashimoto, the tech stuff that she's been doing with Lina Cross. I mean, there was a lot of great information that we had with Sadie Gibbs, and we definitely want to have her back on the podcast probably before her return, but she was thinking maybe March or April. So maybe I'll reach out to her again, maybe sometime in the first quarter of next year, because we've been getting a lot of really good buzz on the interview. So once we have an idea when she's about ready to come back, we'll have her on. So this way we can kind of, give a little preview of getting the fantastic Sadie Gibbs back out in the wrestling world. But it was just an absolute sweetheart and an inspiration, a very, very big inspiration of a person, somebody that really, really has, her mind right and focused on what she wants to do and is inspiring others. She really is on all of her social media. So that was just a fantastic interview. And the biggest thanks to Sadie Gibbs for taking the time and chatting with us earlier this week, partner.
Yeah, the undefinable Sadie Gibbs. It is in the podcast archives. You can go and check it out now, and it's also on YouTube as well. Let's get into a bit of Stardom news then. And the show on the 7th of November in the Korakuen Hall, obviously the start of the Goddess Stardom Tag League, two really big moments to talk about. The first of which took the world a bit by surprise, with YouTuber and internet personality Fuwa-chan making an appearance to say that she will be returning to a Stardom ring at Dream Queendom 2025 on December 29th. Obviously, she has been in a Stardom ring before, most recently at All-Star Grand Queendom 2023. Unfortunately, she has been at the center of a little bit of controversy due to an unsavory remark, let's say, that she made towards fellow comedian Yasuko in August 2024. Unfortunately, I can't say it because otherwise we'll get demonetized on YouTube. But yeah, you can go and check it out. It's very easily findable. She sort of hasn't posted on social media since August 2024. The return post to say what she was doing, I think, got over 5 million views within something like 3.5 hours of the Korakuen Hall show.
15 million views.
50 million views. Yeah. There you go. It got a lot of buzz. Now, again, with this being her first post in over a year, people weren't sure what she'd been doing. It turns out she'd been training for wrestling. She was at Stardom's Vegas shows where she met with President Taro Okada. She's been training again for an in-ring return. The way it was framed and the way that she has said that basically she's looking at this as almost a change of grade. It does seem like this is going to be at least a semi-regular thing for Fuwa-chan. And again, there was a huge buzz when she wrestled in Stardom those two matches prior. So again, this is generating a huge amount of buzz, Matt.
Yeah, I just checked, buddy. We're at 63 million views. 63 million views in 6 days. So I didn't know of anything controversial with Fuwa-chan. I had texted you earlier I believe the show was Friday, from the 7th. I said, Fuwa-chan showed up at the Stardom Korakuen show, that she's going to come back. She's going to be wrestling at Dream Queendom. Like, well, yeah, there's been some controversy about it. And I didn't even know. Maybe that's just good on me for keeping the negative stuff out of just my life in general. And then I went back and read, and then she was very apologetic for what she's done. Now, obviously, she's made this public apology. I hope she's done this in private. I hope she reached out to that comedian or maybe sat down with them and said, like, look.
It has been. She has said that she has, and the apology has been accepted.
Oh, okay. That's great. That
apparently,
I did not think.
Apparently, again, this is obviously just from internet perusing.
Sure. But I mean, that's great. Hey, we all make mistakes, obviously. And I even said, I don't want to know what she said. And then within 20 minutes, I had about 10 different people like, this is what she said. I'm like, I really didn't want to know, but I'm like, okay, that's bad. But, hey, she made a mistake. She owned up to it. She stayed away from social media. You said since August of last year.
August 24.
So, geez, I mean, you're looking at that she hasn't posted anything in about 16 months. So she stayed away from that. She's obviously cleaned up her mind. I believe she said she went to England to do some training for pro wrestling. And then she's obviously going to be spending some time in the Stardom dojo, more than likely getting beat up by Hazuki. So that just goes to show
post
you.
a picture together today, actually, from the dojo. So there you go.
Yeah, there it is. So it's again, folks, we obviously don't condone what Fuwa said. I do mad respect for her to owning it, making a public apology and a private apology. So again, hey, we all make mistakes. We all do things that in hindsight we regret. It's all about becoming a better person, and it looks like what Fu is doing, and it does look like you said, partner, she's going to probably be on some of these. It's not just going to be a one-off like we saw at Dream Queendom or All-Star Grand Queendom. It's not going to be, she's going to be back at Dream Queendom. Maybe she'll do a few Korakuen shows. Maybe she'll do the pay-per-views. Maybe they'll put her in tag league. It's going to be really interesting to see because she was really impressive in that match that she had at All-Star Grand Queendom. Now, I understand she was in the ring with Hazuki and Utami, but Utami really didn't take it easy on her. Like that German suplex she finished her with, she planted her in that camera. So
I forgot about that. Absolutely destroyed, proper folded her in half with it, didn't she?
Yeah. Because I was like, oh, she'll probably hit her with the hijack bomb. And it was like, no, I'm going to get you with this German suplex. She just probably just whipped her. So I was like, well, hey, you're in the ring. Hey,
absolutely.
You're here, kid. You know what I mean? I'm with Tommy Hayashis. I was the big champion here. So again, good on her. It's a good thing for Stardom as well because she's a massive star. Again, 63 million views just on that post alone. It's getting a lot more positive buzz than negative buzz. That's what I've seen. I think a lot of people are kind of in our mindset. It's like, hey, you did something wrong. You owned, you can't change the past. You owned up to it. Like I said, she apologized privately and publicly, and she's getting back into the world of pro wrestling. And again, she was very good 2 years ago. So now she's going to be not only training more, Rob, but she's going to be in the ring more with the Shuris, with the Sai Kamatanis, the Momo Watanabes, the Starlight Kids, so on and so forth. In 6 to 8 months, she's going to be potentially a really, really good wrestler. And I did notice about 2 hours after she made the announcement, she's wrestling on Dream Queendom, a whole boatload of tickets sold, my friend. I think that's when I even was like, okay, I need to get some tickets because if we fly all the way to over Japan and the 2 big shows we're going to are all sold out.
Sold out, imagine.
Yeah, can you imagine? Because I guess they're opening up more tickets for the Tokyo Dome because I think they sold out like almost 40,000 after Okada and Tanahashi was announced. So yeah, I better jump on those. So yeah, again, it's gonna be really exciting. Fantasy book, Rob. What do you think she's gonna do for a match?
With this being her first match, and again, my predictions with the tag league have gone pear-shaped, so there is every chance that this is completely wrong. I would be surprised if it's a singles. I'd be very surprised if it's a singles. I imagine they will put her in a tag, and I imagine she will be either tagging with Hazuki or against Hazuki. Obviously, Hazuki was someone who helped her massively in 2023 when she was, wrestling on those 2 shows. It looks like she's been training with Hazuki again in the dojo. Obviously, we don't know how much training she's done in the UK and things like that. But I imagine that something very safe for Fuwa-chan would be Hazuki, at least in the ring with her. I would imagine it will probably be Fuwa-chan and Hazuki against 2 members of Hate that aren't doing anything. So if you imagine that obviously Sai Kamatani is going to be in the main event, potentially Konami in the semi-main, although we'll talk about directions for Konami as well heading into Dream Queendom as well. And you've obviously got BMI 2000 who potentially will be defending those tag belts. That does leave Rina. That does leave Fucking Death. Does leave Momo Watanabe. Obviously, we don't know what Momo's status will be going up to Dream Queendom with the injury. Obviously, it leaves Azusa Inaba if she's going to be on the show. So there is options there. I imagine it will be some sort of tag. If I were to guess, I mean, you've also got the option of a teaming with FWC against somebody. And ultimately, much as I would love it to be Hazuki challenging for the wild belt, it's not going to be. Okay, that's not the direction we are heavily leading into here by this point.
Not yet. Not yet. Hold
Well,
on. I'm holding on to hope. Yeah, holding on to
dude.
hope. I might be the only one. I think even Hazuki's given up on it.
Hazuki's like, I'm never holding this belt. But no, I imagine that's probably the way we go again. Maybe it's going to be FWC against a Neo Genesis, for example. So Mei Seira, Miyu Amasaki, and maybe a Starlight Kid. Because it looks like O2 Line aren't winning the tag league. So that's what I would do. I would be surprised if it's a singles. If it's a singles match, again, the only real name that logistically makes sense is Suzuki. So again, I don't know. What about you?
I think I agree. I think it's definitely going to be a tag, and it's going to be a match that a lot of eyes are going to be on. So possibly Fuwa and Hazuki, or Fuwa and FWC versus possibly Wingori, if they don't do Hanan and Konami, because of the fact that they had. I'm just throwing it out there because you had Hanan and Sai Kamatani wrestle on that nationwide TV show, so there's already a lot more eyes on Hanan, so that's a possibility. But I think the Neo Genesis is the way to go. If it's not going to be Starlight Kid challenging Konami, which again it might be Hanan, and if O2 Line aren't going to win the tag league, which again it doesn't look like that maybe that they are. Again, we'll see. I think a great special tag match. Again, you're going to need a lot of eyes on because of the big superstar, worldwide superstar Fuwa-chan is. You have Fuwa-chan and FWC versus Azumi, Miyu Amasaki, and Starlight Kid. I mean, first of all, not only going to be a lot of eyes on that, but like it's going to be a fantastic match. FWC and Stardom throwing in Miyu Amasaki and Fuwa-chan in there. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do. They're obviously going to put her in a spotlight where she is going to shine really well. It's not like she's going to be in there with, no disrespect in Emma, and it's going to go, hey, 4 minutes, you got it, kid. No, they're going to put a big spotlight on her because there's going to be millions of people watching that match in one way or another. Because I believe the tag match that she had at All-Star Grand Queendom, they let her film it and show most of it on her YouTube channel. I think it got something like 8 million views within like the first 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, something, I forget what the stat was, but a lot of eyes are going to be in on Ryogoku Kakakigan, and more just for me and you being there, buddy. I know a lot of people are going to come to see our fancy hairdos. So.
Yes, I imagine that's going to be the big selling point. But yeah, I imagine that obviously that will sell tickets. It's a great move for Stardom. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what's next in terms of Fuwa-chan and Dream Queendom. Moving on, the next big thing, and I say next big thing with tongue in cheek somewhat. We now know who Haneko's mystery partner is for the tag league, and that mystery partner was not X for Xena, it was not X for Micah, it was X for for Megan Bayne, basically. I was going to try and say something funny, but it doesn't matter. Megan Bayne came out and got a huge pop, which was great. I am just going to shout out Kev Mullin, by the way, whose photo we've used here at Kev Mullin 23. If you aren't already following, go and check him out because he's in Japan at the moment. Some of the photos he's taken are outrageously good. But yeah, Megan Bayne came out, as we talked a little bit about in the intro, had a little bit of a stare down with Bozilla, had a suplex off with Bozilla, reminiscent to their fantastic GCW match over Vegas week. And yeah, has then teamed with Hanako throughout the tag league. Incredibly exciting for Megan Bayne. Obviously, we've already talked about this. We're not going to dwell on it for too long. But she's a great addition to the tag league, got a huge pop in front of a really hot Korakuen Hall crowd. And I think her and Hanako work really, really well as a team.
Rob, we fantasy booked quite a bit here for Dream Queendom. I mean, if she's available, I don't know what AEW, I know AEW has World's End, but at the same time, we've seen her flying back and forth from Japan and the States. Give us Megan Bayne and Bozilla. Give us Megan Bayne. I mean, they planted the seeds there. They didn't have, and no disrespect, that was kind of, with the exception of introducing Hanako's partner, which again, Megan Bayne, wow, didn't see it coming. Great surprise. For the most part, it's tag league, and it was a throwaway 8-person tag match. Or at least you would think of that. But like Megan Bayne and Bozilla, they made things really interesting. And if they didn't say, hey, we're planting the seeds for Dream Queendom, they definitely made you want that, because again, that was one of my favorite matches the entire WrestleMania weekend of the 84 shows that we went to. And the fact that we teased it a little bit here, hopefully they pay it off. I guess it all depends on what the Stardom booking committee and what Tony Khan and AEW can do. But I mean, they made you want a big singles match with Megan Bayne and Bozilla. May as well do it in Sumo Hall. If the chips align, you may as well do it in Sumo Hall. Now, Rob, it's funny because about a year ago at this time, we made mention how depleted God's Eye are. Ami Souri's injured. Tomoka Inaba's back and forth between JTO and Stardom. Mirai has left to go over to Marigold, and there's nobody there. And then like a couple months ago, we're like, wow, they got Ami Souri's back, Shuri's back, Tomoka Inaba's absolutely crushing it. Ronnie Yagami's next level. They brought in Kyoto Katatsu, a legit shooter. Saki Kashima is doing great work, and we're gonna get in with her. Hina is on another level because of the future Stardom championship run. Lady C's getting championship matches, both artists and like, wow, out of nowhere, they are now an overpowered faction. Now, obviously, I know Megan Bayne is contracted to AEW, so let's just say she's a satellite member of EXV. When they get Xena and Micah back,
Yeah.
no, but they're the new God's Eye. Like they're like, yeah, oh God, it's all poor Waka and Hanako and Rihanna, and they're doing a great job. Now it's like, oh, guess what? Megan Bayne's here, and she's part of EXV apparently, and then Micah's going to be back soon, and then Xena's going to be back soon. Can you imagine like having all them? It's like, oh wow, somebody's getting thrown in the fourth row, buddy.
I think that as a singles match, a high-profile singles match for Dream Queen will be perfect. Obviously, you want to do more with Bozilla. I do like the partnership they are really developing between her and Akira Kuragane. How, the losses are frustrating Bozilla because it makes sense. Why would Bozilla just be fine with the losses? So I do like that story, but at some point you are going to have to start pushing her. Okay. And I think a high profile singles match against Megan Bayne on the big stage, Rhea Goku would be perfect. We've seen this match at GCW. For me, it was one of the matches of that show. It was absolutely fantastic. Really showcased the best of Bozilla. I would actually have Bozilla win the match as well.
Oh yeah.
I don't think, even, despite the great work that Megan Bayne is doing, ultimately she's not a full-time member of the Stardom roster. And much as I would love her to be, she's not. And I think if you are wanting to build Bozilla as a legitimate monster, and, we've talked about her fairly patchy record in Stardom. Her win-loss record is not great in Stardom. Obviously, how much of that is her and how much of it is members of Mi Vida Loca continuing to get pinned is by the by. But a big statement singles victory is what she needs. Saki Kashima is one thing. Megan Bayne is very much another kettle of fish.
Not only that, it's Megan Bayne on AEW TV pretty much every week, whether it's Collision or whether it's Dynamite. I mean, Megan Bayne is in a completely different and bigger light, and she's making a great opportunity for herself. And it was great in that Blood and Guts match. And I just want to mention this now because I will forget. Shout out to Excalibur. He did say when Megan Bayne got in the ring, Megan Bayne is currently participating in a tour for Stardom and is going back after this. I'm like, oh my God, they do know that Stardom exists. They do. I'm just poking fun. I love Excalibur. I think he's the best, with the exception of Walker Stewart. I think he's the best commentator in all of wrestling. But I was like, oh man, that literally popped me. I'm sitting there on the couch with Amber, and I'm like, oh my God, they said it. They said it. And she's like, why are you getting so excited about that? I'm like, because they never mentioned that Anna Jay was in the five-star.
No, they didn't.
But he made mention of how busy Megan Bayne is. So, and then Megan Bayne decides to bleed all the way down the side of her face, then get on a plane 12 hours later. Yeah, just great stuff. But yeah, I totally agree that if they do this Megan Bayne and Bozilla match, that Bozilla needs to get a win, because it's a big win for Bozilla. It's a big win over a wrestler that's wrestling in front of about 1 million people every week on TV and absolutely killing it. So yeah, again, this was a great kudos to AEW, kudos to Stardom for pulling this off, because I don't think we thought it'd be one of two people. Like, even if you're like, it's not those two people, me and you sat here for an hour trying to guess who it was going to be, Megan Bayne wouldn't have been on the list. But when I didn't watch the show live, but when I went on Twitter and saw that it was Megan Bayne, I'm like, oh, that's so good. That is so good. And again, considering the fact that we talked to her for a good 20 minutes about how badly she wanted to go back to Stardom. Here it is, my man. Here it is. So again, kudos to her. Kudos to Bozilla. That was easily the best part of the match. Hopefully, Rob Goodwin, fingers crossed, we get a big match, and hopefully it's in Sumo Hall.
Now, of course, it is that time of the year where everyone's head falls off. It is the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Women's 250, and it was announced on Tuesday, the 11th. We'll go through the results, not just the Stardom ones, but the top 10 as well, just in case you are one of the few people that hasn't seen it. Saya Kamatani coming in at number 3. And when you look at who was 1 and 2, that's a real achievement, to be perfectly honest. Mercedes Moné wins the PWI Women's 250. Toni Storm at number 2. Tiffany Stratton at number 4. Steph Vaca at 5. Io Sky at 6. Athena at 7. Saria at 8. Naomi at 9. And Rhea Ripley at 10. Saya Kamatani keeping very illustrious company there. I think it's great that she has got the recognition for what has been an absolutely astronomical year for Saya Sama. In terms of Stardom representation then on this PWI 250 mat. Obviously Saya Kamatani at 3. The only other Stardom wrestler, obviously Suri at 8 as well, which is tremendous for her. Bearing in mind she is a freelancer, I think that's really, really amazing and a real nod to the work that she is doing between her Sariyasm shows, the work she does in Sendai, obviously her work with the IWGP Women's Championship. In terms of contracted Stardom wrestlers, only Starlight Kid in the top 20 alongside Saya Kamatani. Starlight Kid coming in at 14. Momo Watanabe at 24. Azumi at 31. Saori at 39. Natsupoi at 44. Rina 62. Meisera at 65. Bozilla 78. Hazuki 83. After that year she was missed out entirely. Hina 93. Hanan at 100. Koguma at 110. Miyu Amasaki 118. Saori Anou at 124, which for me was surprisingly low when you look at the likes of Miyu Amasaki and the likes of Koguma. Tomoka Inaba at 129. Azusa Inaba at 130. That made me laugh. I imagine that's an interesting dinner time conversation between the two. Natsuko Tora 142. Suzu Suzuki 143. Aya Sakura 151. Bea Priestley at 181 as well, which when you consider that she didn't return to Stardom until the 5-star Grand Prix, and up until that point I think had wrestled 2 matches after her release from WWE. I think she's done very, very well. Obviously did really well in the 5-star, had that red belt match with Saya as well. Rina Yamashita at 183. I know she's not Stardom contracted, but even so. And then Hanako at 198. Couple more statistics just before I throw to you, Matt. Ranked for the first time in terms of Stardom wrestlers, Sayaka Kurora ranked for the first time at 79. Hina as well. The Inaba sisters are in the top 250 for the first time, as is Aya Sakura at 151 and Hanako at 198. Also, nice little thing just to wrap that up. Hanan, Hina, and Rina mark the first trio of sisters to be ranked in the PWI 250, which I thought was a nice little statistic that was put out there. I believe it was Lyric Wrestling that pointed that out. So, yeah, really, really good stuff there. Now, first of all, Matt, obviously, I do just want to point out, it's all subjective, okay? There is a criteria. They go by that criteria, okay? It might not be one you agree with. That's the beauty of wrestling. That's the beauty in the being in the eye of the beholder, okay? Again, we both think Saya Kamatani should win, but that's because we don't watch with any real, well, I don't anyway, any real regularity American wrestling. So, of course, I think that Saya Kamatani is going to win. Do I think that Starlight Kid should be higher up? Of course I do, but again, that's what makes for such great wrestling debate. I know that PWI did come out and they've accidentally missed Hyan off the list, which, to be fair, they came out and owned.
Mistakes
I
happen.
believe. Yeah, Kevin said she was in an earlier draft of the PWI. Then we reworked it and somehow she got missed off. It was a complete accident. Hyan was really, really nice about the entire situation. But yeah, overall, when you look at the amount of Stardom representation on that list and where they are, aside from maybe a couple I'd move up, a couple of numbers, I think that's a relatively solid list in terms of Stardom participation.
Yeah, obviously I do watch everything AEW. So I watch all the Mercedes, all the Tony stuff. As far as WWE goes, obviously it's Io, Kyrie, Asuka, Julia, Stephanie Vaquer. I'll catch the occasional other stuff here or there. So I thought that Kamatani should have been one. I figured it'd been her and Mercedes 1 and 2, but I can understand Tony at the 2. Tony did win it last year, so Tony number 1 this year, number 2 this year, number 1 last year. So pretty good 2 years for Tony Storm when it comes to Pro Wrestling Illustrated, a 1 and a 2. So I totally get that. Again, I would have voted Kamatani for as the number 1, but the 3 spot is really good. I would have put Io in that top 5. I don't think that Tiffany Stratton should have been ranked higher. But other than that, I would have put Starlight Kid in the top 10 as well. Wonder Stardom champion, doing great things with this. This is financially the best year Stardom's had. A lot of it has to do with what Starlight Kid is doing as the Wonder Stardom champion, basically the second most important championship in that company. But other than that, Rob, I really don't have any other problem with the list. Well, I can't say that, Rob. For longtime listeners of this podcast, can you please let us know where Liv Morgan ranked?
Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. She was 13th.
And Nia Jax was, I think, 12.
Yes.
And Starlight Kid was 14 and Mayu was 18. So congratulations to Io getting out of the Liv Morgan shadow, but Mayu Iwatani still doesn't get out of there. But I did ask a lot of my friends that do watch American wrestling. I said, was Liv and during the evaluation period, was Liv and Nia champion? They said that I think Nia won Queen of the Ring or she was champion. So it's like, okay, that now I understand. I understand why, because again, outside of, obviously the Io and Kyrie watch with the Asuka stuff and, a glimpse at Julia now. I really don't watch much of women's wrestling in the WWE. It's not to say I don't enjoy it. I just don't have the time. So other than like 6 or 7 wrestlers, I really don't watch. So I had to refer to my friends that watch WWE each and every week. Like, hey, what did Liv and Nia do to get this spot? And they basically told me, I said, okay, I get it. It's a kayfabe list. WWE is the biggest wrestling company in the world. These two during the evaluation periods were the champions. So I'm like, okay, I completely understand that. So again, I really don't have any issues with the list. Like I said, a couple things. I would have had Starlight Kid in the top 10. I would have had Kamatani either 1 or 2. I would have had Io probably 4 or 5 instead of 6. But then I thought Saori was ranked in a perfect spot. I thought Athena was ranked in a really great spot.
Great to see her getting the recognition.
Yeah, I think there's 2 years in a row, Saori in the top 10. Again, considering she's a freelancer. So again, I have no really issues with the list. And folks, if you have any other questions, that next week we will be interviewing columnists from Pro Wrestling Illustrated, Kristen Ashley. She will be on and scheduled to, I believe, record with her next Friday. So she's a columnist from Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and I believe she had a hand in putting this list together. So she will be on the Stardom Cast next week. So I have a whole bunch of questions to ask her already about working for Pro Wrestling Illustrated, like what all goes into the list and what is that, what's the war room like, and then if next year if they need our hand to help out with any Joshi talent, whether it's a Mayu, whether it's a Saya Kamatani, whether it's a Zumi, whether it's a Fukigen Death, whether it's a Megaton,
absolutely, always.
That's what we're here for. We're here to help. But no, again, a really great list. I really have no issues with it. I'm really excited for our interview next week with Kristen, who was a columnist again at good old Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Yeah, I think obviously I'm surprised that Io is below Tiffany. Simply because, again, Tiffany was champion going into WrestleMania, won at WrestleMania. All of these things go in her favor, but, on a similar point, so was Io. So, again, for the sake of one space, I'm certainly not going to argue. And again, there's nothing really, really egregious there. Was Suzu Suzuki on that list? Did I say Suzu?
Yes, did say Suzu.
43. Brilliant. That was the only one that was like, wait, did I say Suzu? Yeah. Apart from that, I think, again, with the possible exception of Saori being quite low, below Miyu Amasaki surprised me. But aside from that, I'm certainly not quibbling. But yes, go and get your copies now. You can get it online as well. Matt, you did mention it earlier. Let's talk about it now. Obviously, Sendai girls wanted to, again, throw their names into the hat somewhat as they continue to just produce some absolutely outrageous shows. And the first one we are going to be talking about is the show from the 22nd of November coming up, where we're going to be in Fukuoka, Nishitetsu Hall, and not BMI 2000. I knew I was going to say that. Team 200 kg, Chihiro Hashimoto and you will be defending the Sendai Girls World Tag Team Championships against none other than Fukuoka Double Crazy, Hazuki, and Koguma. Man, that's going to be a really, really exciting match. And actually, when you consider that Yu is going to be retiring on the 28th of December, not out of the realms of possibility that Fukuoka Double Crazy take the belts here.
And where's the show at, buddy?
It's in Fukuoka at Nishitetsu Hall.
Yep, my guess is we're going to see new champions here based on those two things and the fact that FWC is fantastic. So I think we're going to see new champions here. I'm super excited for this one. Again, these are two of the best tag teams in all of Joshi the last 2 or 3 years. And considering the fact that Team 200 kg is pretty much been strictly Sendai Girls, where FWC for the last few years has been strictly Stardom, it was kind of a debate that a lot of us had over the last 2 years. Who's the best tag team in Joshi? Now, obviously, throw SaoriPoi in there, Wingori for what they've done the last 8 or 9 months, but majority of the Joshi fan base would settle on either Team 200 kg or FWC, and now we're getting the match. And this is obviously FWC did win that match back in the summer against Bob Momo Banana, Andy Hedder's new favorite tag team. To set this match up, we're kind of wondering when it was going to come along, and here it is. Here it is, Rob. FWC versus Team 200 kg. A dream Joshi tag match that we are getting in just a few days' time against Sendai Girls. Some of these matches they've announced over the next 3 or 4 shows are just absolutely insane. Just another reason why you should spend the $8 or $9 or whatever it is to get Wrestle Universe just for Marigold and Sendai Girls alone. Well worth your money. But I'm super excited to see how this one plays out. But I'm going to put my money on FWC walking out as the new Sendai Girls tag champs.
Yeah, also on that card, Saori Anou and Ryo Mizunami will be taking on Red Energy. We also see the return of Minami. She has been cleared. She will be in the ring alongside Hiroyo Matsumoto against Chi-Chi and Veni. So some really, really tasty matchups on the 22nd of November in Nishitetsu Hall. But that's not all, because 4 days prior to that, Matt Turner, we've decided that Team 200 kg are going to go on a bit of a tear, because we have Chihiro Hashimoto and you taking on Saori and Lady C on the 18th of November. 5 days' time as we record in Sendai Pit. Matt Turner, Saori and Chihiro Hashimoto in the same ring. It feels like Christmas.
It really does, and we were only about a month away or so from Christmas, my man, from the when this match does happen. Yeah, believe the last time they shared a ring together was that fantastic knockout or submissions only match at the very first Dream Queendom, All-Star Grand Queendom, excuse me, back in April in 2023. A really, really great match. We're throwing Lady C in there, which basically we love Lady C, but we think we know how this one's going. It's going to be her looking at the lights, but at the same time, we haven't seen Lady C participate in any of these other really big Joshi companies in a big match outside of Stardom. And again, Lady C, you need to throw her up there with Yuna Mizumori, Mai Sakurai, and Chika Goto as the most improved wrestler in all of wrestling in this year. She's doing fantastic stuff here. This is going to be a great match. And her and Shuri teaming up together. Obviously, Rob, we've seen them in part of 6 persons or 8 persons as part of God's Eye, but I don't remember a time we've just seen where it was just Shuri and Lady C as a team. So I'm super excited to see this pair. Again, Team 200 kg. Yu is literally going out in her retirement road with an absolute bang. Absolute
blaze
bang.
Of glory.
Yeah, you're not kidding, buddy. You are not kidding. And again, this depending on when our planes land, there is a possibility we may catch her because her retirement show is on the 28th. So pending on, so again, it is against Chihiro Hashimoto. So yeah, I mean, Yu is literally, she's going out on the best way possible, but this match is going to be all sorts of fantastic.
Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely. Can't wait. Other matches on this card, by the way, because again, it seems like every Sendai Girls show is appointment viewing, which is absolutely wild. You've got Chi-Chi and Ryu Mizunami against Bob Momo Banana. which is going to be great. You've got Yuka Satsuki versus Yuna, Hiroya Matsumoto versus Spike Nishimura, which is going to be great. You've got Dash Chisako and Miku Kanai versus Red Energy, which I know you are going to absolutely love. And then, of course, you've got this, which is slated to be the main event, Saori and Lady C and her chaps against Team 200 KG. Never, ever, ever forget those chaps. Speaking of great wrestling, Matt Turner, we were lucky enough to have another Saoriism show. Saoriism Chapter 9 happened this week. Main evented, of course, by Chihiro Hashimoto and Natsupoi versus Sari and Suzu Suzuki. Again, as is almost customary with these Saoriism shows, absolutely incredible matches, top to bottom. Obviously, the main event absolutely slapped because look who's in the ring. However, big shout out to Mirai and Yuri, who I thought were absolutely phenomenal. I want to see Bozilla and Veni in a ring. Do it. Do it. Do that at Dream Queendom. If you can't do Bozilla and Megan Bayne, do that. And also Akira Kuragane and Rani Yagami. Absolutely. Again, considering they were second from the bottom with, again, they were given a fairly healthy amount of time in 12 minutes. I thought they were absolutely fantastic. Everyone, this show was absolutely fantastic. 5 matches. Every single match is worth your time.
Yeah, teaming Akira and Rana against Miku Kunai and Chi-Chi. That was a great
match. Fantastic match.
Yeah, great match. Again, Shinjuku Face always sold out. But from what I understand, Rob, I could be wrong. I believe this is the last Saoriism show in Shinjuku Face because Saoriism avoided her contract where she did not do the double stomp off the table. We were so sure it was going to happen every single show. It doesn't matter if it's a Saoriism show. It doesn't matter if it's a Marigold show. It doesn't matter if
she has to do it.
It happens all the time. We're like, it's totally happened to Natsupoi. It's totally happened. And then the finish happened, and I was like, that was a great match. Where was the double stomp off the table on a Natsupoi? So rumor has that she violated her contract. By rumor that started, I mean by me, that she violated her contract and is not allowed within 200 feet of said building. Obviously,
I mean, makes sense. Makes sense.
Obviously, I'm totally joking. And again, Natsupoi did point out a few days ago that she doesn't have the fire in pro wrestling anymore. I'm like, that's weird because she's wrestling in Tag League. She's wrestling on all these other shows. She's wrestling, I believe, a Sendai Girls show. I think she's wrestling the Sendai Girls show this weekend.
She is with Sakura.
Versus, I think, Red Energy, right? Or is that Bob Hub? Yeah. So it's like,
that's really is it Bob Mobile Banana? Do continue. I'll find out for you.
But so after the match was over, she's just like, yeah, I found my fire back. And they had to stare off. All the pictures were taken. They were all tweeted all over social media. Again, I'm going to play fantasy booker for Sumo Hall. I think we're getting Natsupoi versus Suri in a special singles match.
It would certainly seem that way. It would certainly seem that way.
Not only that, Rob, I don't want to toot my own horn, but that picture that was all over Natsupoi tweeted that out. I retweeted and I put hashtag Dream Queendom. Natsupoi then liked and retweeted my tweet. So Natsupoi is on the train with me. I think she wants that match at Dream Queendom almost as much as we do. So this Dream Queendom card can really look like with a lot of special singles matches. Obviously, we're getting Soriano versus Sai Kamitani. Possibly, fingers crossed, Bozilla versus Megan Bayne. If not, fingers crossed, Bozilla versus Veni. Totally with you on that one. Totally with you. It does look. Yeah, we're all for it, right? Suri versus Natsupoi seems the way to go. We're getting something with Fuwa-chan. What's happening with the Wonder Belt? What's happening with the Artist Belts? What's happening with the Goddess Belt? So a lot of things there. Is Micah going to be back for her, like a special return match? Do you do Micah versus Starlight Kid in a special singles match? Just because why not? Who doesn't want to see that? What's Suzu Suzuki up to? So there's going to be a lot of things that are going to play as we march towards Sumo Hall. But I think it's a safe bet we're getting Suri versus Natsupoi at Sumo Hall. If not, then maybe they're going to stretch it to Suri's 30th or 15th anniversary show in Budokan Hall in March. But I think they'll pull the trigger on it and let it happen in Dream Queendom. Again, at least that's what I'm hoping for.
Natsupoi and Sakura, by the way, taking on Bob Momo Banana. Sorry, not Red Energy.
Hell yeah. I do want to say real quick, buddy, a full review of the Saoriism show on Talk Joshi coming up this weekend. And even though Andy Header could not be there, he did text me his best hair and best gear, not only for this show, but the Tokyo Joshi Pro show from Cork and Hall. And then what we do is we have more than one show, Rob. He puts the two up who had the best hair from this show versus the best hair from this show, and he has a final winner from that weekend. So even though Andy Header could not be there, the whole reason why you tune in to Talk Joshi to find out who had the best hair and best gear, it's on that episode, folks. So enjoy it this weekend.
Absolutely. It's like the Super Bowl of best costumes. Final thing, just before we do get into the Goddess of Stardom Tag League, because we've got 4 shows to get through. We have had official confirmation. It's official. We have the match graphic. Risa Sera's retirement match, 12th of January, will be a singles match against Suzu Suzuki. Again, Matt, can't think of a better way to send off Risa Sera.
Yeah, we were talking about all those hardcore matches that she was going to do that she did this past weekend. They were like 13-minute time limit draws.
13th anniversary.
There it is. Yeah, we both were like, oh yeah, okay. We probably figured that out after we hit the record button. And from what the videos that I've seen and some of the stuff's on YouTube, looked like Risa's moving around a lot better than she did with that match with Takumi Roha. By the way, Hazuki looked like an absolute beast and all that red.
Badass.
Man, we're gonna go another Hazuki tirade. But anywho, for the sake of time, Risa Sera versus Suzu Suzuki. This is the way to go. This is the way to go. I'm assuming this is Korakuen Hall. I'm assuming we're probably going to no rules, or they're just going to look the other way because I think this is going to get messy in the best way possible. Yeah. This is going to look like what we saw in AEW and Blood and Guts. There's going to be a lot of weapons, a lot of crazy stuff going on in this match. But what a great way for Risa Sera to go out and wrestling one of her best friends and the always fantastic one, Suzu Suzuki, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Just speaking about Suzu Suzuki, it was announced today as we record, which is the 13th of November, that her and Emma Maishima would be missing the Hachinohe show, which obviously, as I mentioned, happened today. It has also been announced that both those women will miss the double shot in Sapporo over the weekend. So both the 15th and the 16th of November, Suzu will be missing from those shows. It does mean that her and Rina will be forfeiting their tag league matches, and we'll talk a little bit about the cards that are coming up, because it looks like Stardom and Diana are going to be doing some things together, because obviously Diana are going to be in Sapporo over that day, or over those 2 days as well. It does say that Suzu is missing out through illness, I believe. So fingers crossed, both her and Emma, quick recovery and back to the ring as soon as possible. But Matt Turner, let's finally talk about the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. We are currently 5 nights deep. We're only talking about the first 4 nights because, again, the 5th night happened today and we haven't had a chance to watch it yet. I am briefly going to read through the results just so you've got a picture of what it looks like going into next week. Couple of notes about this year's tournament, because with the tournament being announced it was quite hurriedly, with obviously the injuries and things like that were taking place. There was a couple of things that we didn't know or hadn't picked up on. So thank you to Brandon from our Patreon, who pointed out the bracket for this tournament. So yes, the top 3 from each block will go through. So technically there is still a chance for O2 line. So come on, O2 line. However, it's sort of similar to how the 5-star Grand Prix brackets worked post blocks. The difference being that the 2nd and 3rd seed from the same block will face off in a playoff. So red, the person that finishes 2nd in red block and the person that finishes 3rd in red block will play off. The winner will then face off against the number 1 seed from red block in the semi-finals. Okay, same in blue block. Those semi-finals and playoffs will all happen on the 29th of November, and then the one match will happen on the 30th of November in Act City Hamamatsu. That, by the way, will be a pay-per-view, but it will have English commentary added in post, courtesy of the seemingly insomniac Walker Stewart, because I really do not understand how he sleeps, or when he sleeps. This is the 15th consecutive Goddesses of Stardom Tag League. 2 less teams than last year. Obviously, we had 18 teams last year, 16 this year, with 5 debutantes: Suri Miku Kanai, Rini Yamashita, Bozilla, and Akira Kuragane. Just a reminder, Starlight Kid and Momo Watanabe out injured. And of course, we know that unfortunately FWC were pulled from the tournament for reasons unknown. They were replaced by Dos Locas de Mexico, and the pairing of relatively unknown luchadoras, Teotleco, I am going to get that wrong, and Osita, who, of course, we saw for the first time on this show we are going to talk about today. Night one of the Tag League, the 7th of November, live on Stardom World from Korakuen Hall. The announced attendance, 1,127. Now, this is a 7.62% decrease on the previous attendance at Korakuen Hall, which was 1,220 at the end of October. It's also a 12.78% decrease on the first Korakuen Hall show of last year's tournament, which drew 1,292 at the end of October 24. Now, I do wonder how much of that number is due to the very late announcement of the teams, the absence of the likes of Momo Watanabe and Starlight Kid from the tournament, Saya Kamatani not being in a prevalent position in the tournament either. I wonder if those have all had perhaps a little bit of an impact on the attendance. Of course, it was also a Friday as well. The show, however, does continue that astounding record we seem to talk about every single Korakuen Hall show. Every Korakuen Hall show of 2025, bearing in mind that we are now in the middle of November, surpassing 1,000 people. This has been the 19th show in a row. Stardom have surpassed that. In terms of the results, then, let's go through them. We open with a singles match. Momo Kogo defeating Emma Maishima with a back twist in 7 minutes and 20 seconds. Saya Kamatani also defeated Kikyo Furusawa with a Boston Crab in 5 minutes and 34 seconds. First official match of the Tag League, Blue Stars, Konami and Rina defeated Sakurora, Aya Sakura, and Sayaka Kurora, with Konami submitting Aya with the Triangle Lancer in 10 minutes and 26 seconds. More action from Blue Stars. Sairida and B. Priestley won their match against O2 Line, because of course they did. B. Priestley pinning Miyu Amasaki with the Plan B in 9 minutes and 36 seconds. Another Blue Stars match. Anacon, Syuri, and Saki Kashima defeated the team of Suzu Suzuki and Rina Yamashita. Their team name, Osu Chimadiro Onajuku. Yeah, I'm going to go through why it's called that in a moment, but Saki Kashima getting the pinfall over Suzu with the Kish Kasai in 8 minutes and 13 seconds. We then move to Red Stars action. Yuna Mizumori and Mei Seira. They move to 2 points, defeating Suri and Miku Kanai. Yuna Mizumori getting the pinfall over Miku with Kumamoto's Unsinkable Ship in 10 minutes and 36 seconds. 8-woman tag match followed this. Obviously, the reveal of Megan Bayne as Hanako's mystery partner. The EXV team of Hanako, Rian, and Waka Tsukiyama, and Megan Bayne, they defeated Amisori, Lady C, Bozilla, and Akira Kuragane. Megan Bayne putting Akira Kuragane through the ring, it felt like, with that running powerbomb in 11 minutes and 33 seconds. Semi-main event, Red Stars action. SaoriPoi, Natsupoi, and Saoriano defeated DLM, Teotleco, and Osita, with Natsupoi pinning Teotleco with the fairy magic with just 14 seconds left of the time limit. 14 minutes and 46 seconds in what I humbly think is probably match of the tournament so far. It was absolutely fantastic. Your main event then followed. Red Stars again, the champions, BMI 2000, Natsuko Tora and Ruaka. They defeated the team of Hina and Rani Yagami. Ruaka, getting the pinfall with her straight jacket German suplex in 10 minutes and 2 seconds. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what we are going to do is, for the sake of speed, simply because we are over an hour into this podcast, we've got 4 shows to do. We are going to be, unless there's something massive to talk about, we're going to be glossing over the matches that aren't tournament matches. So please bear with us. Matt, obviously, we started with Momo Kogo and Emma Maishima. What did you think?
Solid opener, 3.25 stars. Again, for the sake, I love Momo Kogo, love Emma. For the sake of time, if you want to talk about more in depth, get a hold of me afterwards. Great opener, 3.25 stars.
Obviously, we then had Saya Kamatani being in absolutely no way a sore winner against Kikyo Furusawa, offering her the hand, then flipping her the bird after submitting her in over 5 minutes. What were your thoughts on this? What do you think of Kikyo's her singles match against the champion?
Cork and Hall to your main match to open up this show. Really great spot for her. Again, only 5.5 minutes, but Saya gave her enough 3.25 stars. Yeah, then Saya throwing her the middle finger, very hurtful. But then again, she's a member of Hate Rap. Good one.
That's true. That's true. So obviously we then delve into tag action. Konami starting strongly in this tournament with that triangle lancer over Aya Sakura. Sakura are not enjoying life as New Blood Tag Team Champions. It feels like ever since they've won the belt, all they've done is lose. But this was a really, really good match. And even though I don't think for a minute that at least Sakura are going through, I think they're going to be one of the solid teams of this tournament.
Yeah, they already are. I'm about 5-6 minutes in this match. As I was doing my notes, partner, I was thinking to myself, what a great match to start this tournament off. Like to start this tournament off proper. You have your brand new Blood Tag champions. You have your brand new, for the first time we're seeing your Wonder of Stardom champion Konami. And Rena's having a heck of a year. This was a great match. Really great wrestling to start off with Aya and Rina. And then Sayaka, she comes in. We get some great teamwork. Cosmic Angels, proper teamwork with Aya and Sayaka. Considering the fact that, with Tam and Soriano and Natsupoi, that's in Yuna, that's where you get your big, great tag team moves from Cosmic Angels and stuff in the past with Mina and Unagi, where it's just like, hey, we're Cosmic Angels. They're great with tag team wrestling. We've seen it in every match. I'm going to repeat it in every match. Great tag team Cosmic Angel style wrestling from Aya and Sayaka. Great stuff there. And then Konami comes in. She's the hammer. Right? Again, this is the first time we're seeing her as the second biggest champion in this company, as the Wonder of Stardom champion. So she needed to look like a killer. And she did. I mean, obviously, she gave a lot of great stuff to Aya and Sayaka, but just punishing strikes, punishing kicks, great submissions as well. Really great stuff. Eventually, I like how Sayaka and Aya were gelling better and better as a team. It does seem like that spear from Sayaka into the German from Aya, that seems to be their go-to finish. It really seems like, and it makes sense. It's basically one move into another. I really enjoy that for a near fall. Konami hits a German suplex onto Aya Sakura, locks in a rear naked choke. However, Aya rolls through and then locks Konami in an armbar. I really like that, considering the fact that rear naked choke is what put Suri out on night one of the 5-star Grand Prix, but didn't put out Aya Sakura on night one of the Goddess of Stardom tournament, Rob. I'm not saying that Aya Sakura is better than Suri, but I'm not saying she isn't, So, hey.
Don't let Scotty Wrestling hear you say that. He'll be coming for you, mate. He will come for you.
Ultimately, though, it's that great pink. It's the Pink Devil Bulldog combination that we've seen Konami and Rina use so much as 2/3 of the Artists of Stardom champions. That opens up the door for a Triangle Lancer onto Aya Sakura. Again, this was a brilliant match to start off this tournament. The crowd was hot for everything, especially this match. 4 stars for me, partner. Thoroughly love this one.
Yeah, I did mention it before. I just want to mention it again. Yes, it was a slightly lower attendance in Corrigan Hall. The crowd more than made up for it. It's one of the hotter Corrigan Hall crowds I've heard over the last couple of months. I thought they were really, really hot for absolutely every match. So, yeah, a really good crowd, despite being slightly less than we are perhaps used to in terms of Stardom attendances this year. We then moved on to Sairida and B. Priestley against O2 Line. And yes, Matt, obviously, let's talk about the elephant in the room. We predicted O2 Line to win the entire thing. Obviously, they're not out of contention by any stretch of the imagination. However, I believe 3 losses and 1 win, or 2 losses and 1 win. I think it's 3 losses because they've lost again today. It's not the greatest of records. And I understand you want them to overcome the odds. They're going to have to win every single match, basically, to have a chance.
Yeah, and I guess, kind of putting on with Suzu being out and losing 2 matches, that's going to obviously put them higher than Suzu and Rina. But I guess putting a positive on that, that's terrible for me to say because I love Suzu Suzuki. But anywho, yeah, I figure with this one, okay, O2 Line will get off to a big win here because Saida and B. Priestley have never teamed before. And O2 Line, this is their 3rd consecutive Goddess of Stardom. Their 4th, 2022, 23. Yeah, this is their 4th consecutive Goddess of Stardom tournament. Surely they'll beat B. Priestley and Saida here, as the makeshift team. That did not happen, Rob.
Nope. Nope.
That did not happen. Ultimately, though, a really great match. You can see, we've seen this before. Whenever B is in the same ring as Azumi, since B's been back to Stardom, she can't help but smile. Like, she's so happy to be in the ring with Azumi because they were part of Queen's Quest back years and years ago. And that's a completely different Azumi. Obviously, she was great then, but Azumi is like an AI wrestler. She is a cheat code. She is, in my opinion, one of the best wrestlers in all of wrestling. I say it every week. She was great here. Again, great stuff with B and Azumi to start off. More new teamwork from O2 line. We're seeing more and more new. This is another reason why I don't know. I'm holding on to hope. Very much like Kazuki winning the white belt and O2 line winning this year's Goddess Tournament. I'm holding on to hope. I'm holding on to hope. I'm like Hawkeye and Endgame. Don't give me hope. No, I'm taking the hope. I need it. Great stuff. Great stuff with Azumi and Saeed. Those two have really great chemistry. B. Priestley and Miyu Amasaki, they had some really great stuff as well. And again, we're seeing some great teamwork with Saeed and B. Priestley, considering they've never teamed before. It just goes to show you what great ring veterans both B and Saya are. Ultimately, though, really great stuff back and forth with Miyu Amasaki and B. Priestley towards the end, with kind of Ida and Azumi taking each other out. But ultimately, is the plan B almost out of nowhere? Basically, that pump handle, Blue Thunder Bomb, putting away Miyu Amasaki. 4 stars for me, my friend. 2 back-to-back matches at 4 stars. This was such a solid show. Everything was so enjoyable in this on this Korakuen show, especially obviously the Goddess of Stardom tag matches.
Yeah, again, I wouldn't worry too much about the Suzu comment because O2 line have already beaten Suzuki.
Oh, that's the only team they did beat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Because again, we're going to talk about that in a minute because honestly, it made me howl with laughter, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Speaking of Suzuki, obviously her and Rina Yamashita came out on the losing end of the Kishikasai, which many wrestlers have done. It's the most dangerous move in pro wrestling. Just quickly, their name, and again, I am going to butcher this name. So for the sake of my own sanity and for your ears, I'm just going to call them Suzu and Rina following this. But their official tag league name is Osu Chimidoro Onajuku. Now, apparently, and again, this is all coming courtesy of Mira Wrestling on Twitter, it translates to Osu Blood-Soaked Women's Academy.
Oh, we need those shirts.
We do. That is a shirt.
And the BMI 2000 and the BMI 2000 shirts in extra small. Remember, in extra small.
In an extra small, absolutely. We definitely want the BMI boob tube for Rob in Ryogoku. I'm going to get kicked out of Japan if I wear that.
After we drink on our way in Sapporo beer, and then Amber's going to be like, "I got to babysit these clowns."
Apparently, they serve really, really good fried chicken in Korakuen Hall. So that's what I'm aiming for on at least one of the Korakuen Hall shows. This chicken that they sell.
And chicken's high in protein. So there you go, buddy.
It's basically one of my 5 a day, and let's be perfectly honest. That's the way that works, isn't it? Anyway, obviously, Saki Kashima coming out on the winning side, and I like what they are doing with Anacon during this Goddesses of Stardom tag league, with Saki getting sort of the shock win, but then Saori winning with the power. And actually, they sort of had this conversation, didn't they, after their latest win, where Saki got the win, but Saori's like, "You got the win." And Saki is still very much of the opinion that they are only winning because of Saori. So again, it's going to be quite nice. It's a nice dynamic anyway, but I do like that they are leaning into the fact that Saki knows that the only reason they're winning is because Saori is potentially weakened an opponent first. And it's going to be really nice to see Saori eventually give that confidence to Saki to show, no, we can win because of you. It's not just me. Obviously, the main bit for me here was Saori versus Suzuki, which, again, you think about that opening night of the 5-star Grand Prix in 2024, 2023, of course. Just phenomenal match. Absolutely, just pedal to the floor, absolutely high octane action, and we got a little bit of a taste of that here again.
Rob, again, with 3 teams from each bracket going into the playoffs, I think Shuri and Saki are either 1 draw or 1 win away from automatically qualifying, because they're picking up points. They're a reverse O2 line. They're picking up points at a rapid rate.
The reverse O2 line.
And when I read that thing that Suzu's going to be out and miss the weekend shows, I love Suzu. Suzuki's one of my favorite wrestlers in all of wrestling, and I love this team with her and Rina. Rob, real quick, while I talk about this match, what are the 2 matches that they're forfeiting this weekend? Who are we not going to see them wrestle against? If you don't mind pulling that up, why I talk about this match. But I like how the match starts where Rina suckers poor Saki Kashima in, and then she suplexes Saki, and then Suzu and Rina just put the boots to Saki, and the crowd is really hot. They're really booing Suzu and Rina in the right place because it's like, you guys are bullying our poor Saki Kashima. And Saki makes the hot tag to Shuri. You're absolutely right, partner. Not only do we see great stuff with Shuri and Suzu, and you're automatically taking back to night 1 of the 2023 5-Star Grand Prix, which that match was my favorite match of that entire tournament. But also, we talked about it last week when we reviewed Crimson Nightmare. Shuri and Rina and that 15-person tag match absolutely crushed it, and they did here again. Shuri's just, you can tell that she's just getting warmed up for the Tokyo Dome, bro. Like, I mean, her and Rina, great stuff. Her and Suzu, great stuff. The Saki stuff was terrific. Their teamwork was great. Ultimately, there's great teamwork with Suzu and Rina, which, again, they gel automatically here. They basically take apart Shuri, and then Rina goes to give the splash mountain to Saki Kashima. And the psychology makes sense because Saki just kind of getting beat up the whole match. And now it's the double team taking out the big hammer that Shuri. Rina goes for that splash mountain, which we've seen her pin, I think, Kagama in this building before. She goes to do it, but Saki slips out. Kishi Kasai for the 3 count. This was great for so many levels. The psychology, the hard hitting, the storytelling. But what really tipped this match over as my second favorite match of this show was how hot the crowd was, especially for the finish. It started perfectly with them. By them, I mean Suzu and Rina bullying Saki Kashima. And then Saki Kashima almost like, haha, I got you. It only takes 3 seconds to win a match. And the crowd absolutely erupted. 4.25 stars for me. This was fantastic.
Thankfully, Suzu and Rina only had 1 match over the Sapporo weekend. Unfortunately, they're going to have to forfeit the match against Saorida and B. Priestley on the 15th. They didn't have a match on the 16th, which is good. Unfortunately, they have also had to forfeit the match from today against Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurora. It pretty much means that they're not going to be able to qualify. Obviously, I think they're 0-3. I don't think they've won a match yet. And then obviously the forfeits as well. Obviously, the main thing is that we hope Suzu is back as quick as possible and as healthy as possible more than anything else.
100%.
Moving on then, we have the team of Yuna Mizumori and Mei Seira, and their team name has been something of a Valkyrie rock opera in 3 acts because they had arguments about what their team name should be. So initially, it was announced that it was going to be Suisei, okay, which Yuna put forward. Mei Seira also put forward Aqua Stella. They were going back and forth on that. They were arguing backstage about which one they should choose. It has officially been confirmed today that they are officially going by Aqua Stella. Obviously, the Mizu of Mizumori is water, and then the Stella comes from the star in Mei Seira's name. So that's how they've got Aqua Stella as their name. This match, I was really surprised that they didn't give Saori a victory on the opening night of the tournament. However, Miku Kanai has been really impressive over the tournament, even though she's lost the vast majority of the match. I think that currently her and Saori have only won 1 match. I believe they're 1-2 in the tag league. I think she's been very impressive. Her sequences with Yuna Mizumori was great, and obviously you felt that heat and hatred again between Yuna and Saori as well, which was very, very exciting. Mei Seira, it goes without saying, I just thoroughly enjoy watching her wrestle. Whenever it is, against whoever it needs to be, she's phenomenal. She's a true highlight of any Stardom show.
Rob, this show took place in Corkin Hall. We have to do the new bit. Who lives in a pineapple under Corkin Hall? Yuna Mizumori. They should be the high-speed pineapples. All kidding.
High-speed pineapples. I love that.
How they not figured that one out? What was the name? Aqua what?
Aqua Stella.
Sounds like a bad cologne from the 90s.
It does.
Anyway, I'm just going to call them Yuna and May. It's just easier for me.
It's nowhere near as bad as Black Desire, which sounded like a box of dark chocolates.
Yeah, we're just going to call them Momo, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, this match was great. I tweeted something out the other day that Saori and Miku Kanai work so great as a tag team. And again, considering the fact that they really don't team up that much, they're one of my favorite teams to watch. Miku Kanai, I'm so glad she's getting the spotlight on her between Sendai Girls and New Blood, and now she's part of the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. I don't expect her and Sarita to win the whole thing, but she's going to come out of this. She already is in a better light as far as like the worldwide Joshi scene goes. She's already in a better light. You're absolutely right. Even though she's eating L's, she's having great matches. The stuff with May Sarah was terrific. Again, Yuna and Sari, they tore it down. They had a little bit of a stare off at the last Corkin show, basically saying Sari hit like a double stomp onto Yuna's throat, and there's some bad blood there. And Yuna didn't hold back. Sari was not the hardest hitter in this match. It was Yuna Mizumori. Yuna was properly Miku Kunai, Sari, basically laying down the hammer. And Yuna and May Sarah had great high-speed teamwork. We've seen May do this with Azumi and Starlight Kid as part of Neo Genesis. Again, obviously, all three of them former, and obviously May Sarah, the current high-speed champion. But the high-speed style offense between May and Yuna really works really well. And then even when May's doing the high-speed stuff and then Yuna's throwing down the hammer, or even when Yuna's doing the high-speed stuff and then May's hitting that insane 1,000-mile-an-hour drop kick right to your head, it just works really well. These two have instant chemistry. We've seen them have great matches against each other, but as a tag team, they're gelling really, really well together. Excellent stuff here. Eventually, it boils down to some really stiff strikes with Sari and Yuna Mizumori, some stiff slaps back and forth. Yuna hits this huge lariat onto Sari, and the crowd pop properly huge because for some reason, Sari is a baby face everywhere she goes except for Stardom. And especially you're in a Stardom ring in Corkin Hall, Sari is the biggest heel probably since Kagetsu in that building. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. Miku Kanai hits that corner-to-corner roll-up for a 2 count onto Yuna, scores a near fall, and then Yuna comes back. She hits the sit-out DVD, and then a huge lariat onto Miku Kanai for the pinfall. 4 stars for me. Another great match in this tournament. Again, I was so impressed by the first time teaming up of Sari and Miku Kanai, and the first time teaming up in tag team proper of May Sarah and Yuna Mizumori. And as you said, partner, we are 4 nights into this tournament. 2 of my favorite tag teams in this tournament, both Sari and Miku Kanai and May Sarah and Yuna Mizumori. Excellent showing from all 4 of these wrestlers, but especially, I cannot say enough how impressed I am for one young Miku Kanai.
No, and again, that chemistry between Yuna and May Sarah is only going to develop that eventual high-speed championship match we get at what I assume is going to be the Christmas Eve Corrigan Hall show. It makes sense to do it there, especially when you think about the reaction that Yuna especially got in Corrigan Hall on this show. Move on. Obviously, the big thing to talk about from this 8-woman tag between EXV and Bozilla, Akira Kuragane, and the Reiwa Tokyo Towers was the reveal that it was Megan Bayne that was going to be Hanako's tag team partner. Aside from that, we've already talked about it. The exchanges between Bozilla and Megan Bayne, the Corrigan crowd lost it for this exchange. Just a no selling of the German suplexes. I want to see that. I want 15 minutes of this at Dream Queendom.
This was a fun match. And obviously, the whole thing, Megan Bayne came out, huge pop. Her and Bozilla absolutely tore it down. Obviously, that was the main crux of this match. Waka, Rion, terrific. The stuff with Hanako and Lady C and Ami Soori, that was great. They did a great job. Obviously, the spotlight here was Megan Bayne. Hey, she's back in Stardom. She's been on AEW TV a lot lately. This is a big superstar that we have coming back here for this tour. But they did a great job highlighting Lady C and Ami Soori. Again, they are 2 people that are favorites to win this whole tournament. God bless you, good sir.
Thank you.
But ultimately, you're absolutely right. Megan Bayne and Bozilla tearing it down, and then tearing it down. Poor Akira almost gets put through the ring with that Liger bomb from Megan Bayne. 3 3/4 stars.
Moving on to the semi-main event then, SaoriPoi versus, let's call them FWC.
Yes,
okay,
please.
We're going to break the kayfabe because me and Matt butchering those names for 4 shows, you don't want that.
And counting.
You said, and it was something that was quite interesting, you assumed that it would just be FWC wrestling as FWC under masks. And actually, they've taken on completely different personas under these masks. I mean, some of the lucha style moves that they were breaking out, it's almost like they were a completely different team. And actually, if you weren't overtly familiar with the Stardom product, you'd be forgiven for thinking this was actually a completely different team, because Koguma especially, I felt, wrestled completely differently to how she would wrestle without the mask. And I thought Hazuki really came alive in this. I mean, the Hurricane Rana from the top rope, the old school that she did into the lucha arm drag, some really, really cool moves that we were seeing from FWC. And then, of course, you put them alongside one of the best tag teams in all of Stardom in SaoriPoi. And it was a genuinely, thoroughly enjoyable match. It's my match. I know that we're only 5 nights into the tag league. This is my match of the tournament so far. I thought all 4 women had tremendous chemistry. I thought it was a great outing for DLM because, again, not only just wrestling, they didn't just wrestle as FWC on the masks. They took on a completely different persona, but most importantly, made it work. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like it was something that they'd sort of tried once and thought, we'll see what happens. It felt very refined. Even if it wasn't, it worked really, really, really well. And obviously, we've seen it continue to work well in their other matches. But I think this, especially with Natsupoi and Soriano on the other side, I thought this was absolutely fantastic, Matt. Thoroughly enjoyable.
Rob, you want to hear something funny?
Always.
So obviously, this announcement that FWC was being replaced was like a day, like 24 hours before the start of the tournament. Well, halfway through my day on Friday, which was the show happened, Andy had her text me a picture of the 2 masked wrestlers. And he's like, hey, is this Magenta? And I was like, no, FWC under mask. He's like, no, they're not in the tournament. And then he copy and pasted what was said. I was like, dude, it's FWC under mask. He's like, no, they're not in the tournament. I was like, brother, do me a favor. I was like, Google what those 2 names mean. 3-4 minutes goes by, no response. And he sent me a text. He's like, oh, brother, they worked me.
To be fair, mate, I text you getting FWC or out of the tag league, and then I was like, oh no, wait, hang on. And then I checked. So I completely understand that.
It was so funny. I was like, oh, bro, you can Andy Henderson. He's the best. He's the best. Yeah, I totally agree. This was my favorite match of the tour. This is gonna be a tough one to beat. SaoriPoi, and I think I said this after night 3. They're picking up where they left off last year. Last year, I think they were everybody's clear MVPs of this tournament as far as match quality goes, and they're just second to none. They are so great together. Just some quick highlights of this match. Great stuff. Again, I'm just going to call him Hazuki and Kagama. Sorry, guys. Great stuff with Soriano and Hazuki. That's a singles match, Rob. Obviously, Soriano and Saya Kamatani. We've been waiting for that. We're getting it. Give me Saya Kamatani or Soriano versus Hazuki in a singles match because they had great stuff there. Soriano hits the Joshi dropkick, taking out both members of FWC, and then Ano hits the perfect plex to Hazuki for a 2 count. You mentioned Hazuki with the old school because Hazuki was just like, I need to be more of a luchador. Who am I going to study? Blue Demon? No. Mystico? No. Undertaker? Hell yeah. That's the person you need to study. But she does the old school
luchador.
He did wear a mask in '94. Remember when
Mabel?
Yeah,
the Phantom of the Opera, Le Phantom de Opera.
That's right. Hazuki does the arm drag, the rope arm drag onto Soriano. She hits a Joshi dropkick, and then Kagama hits a 619 onto Soriano for a 2 count. Soriano comes back with a step-up enziguri onto Kagama, and then Natsupoi does the patented high cross body into the cross arm breaker onto the bear. Thoroughly enjoyed that. We get a double corner drop kick to Hazuki from SaoriPoi. Excellent stuff there. And then Hazuki dodges the SaoriPoi kick combination, which is basically Soriano with the step up enziguri and Natsupoi with the super kick. That opens up the door for Hazuki to hit the double code breaker onto Poi and Soriano. That sends SaoriPoi out to the outside. Rob, we've seen this in so many FWC matches where they do the FWC dive, where Hazuki does the suicide dive between the second and third, and Kagama does the dive off the second rope, where they changed it up, where they both did a dive in between the first and second rope. I'm like, even little things like that. I'm like,
very rarely see Kagama do that, if ever.
I've never seen Kagama do a suicide dive before, especially between the first and the second rope. So I was like, oh, so it's little things like that we're changing up. And even Hazuki did the Rob Van Dam enziguri where the person ducks and then comes back with a rewind kick. So studying her RVD and Undertaker tapes going into this match with SaoriPoi. We get the big top rope splash from Kagama for a 2 count. Natsupoi comes back with a super kick. Hazuki then comes in with a Liger bomb. Again, okay, there's somebody that I can see you studying. Jushin Thunder
Yep.
Liger hits the Liger bomb. We get stereo Germans to FWC from SaoriPoi. Then SaoriPoi hit that kick sandwich that they missed earlier. That opens up the door for Natsupoi to roll up Hazuki with the Fairy Magic for the 3 count. Totally agree, partner. We are 4 nights into this tournament. My favorite match of so far of the Goddess Tournament, 4.5 stars. This was phenomenal. Fantastic stuff.
Now, I will just say, obviously, FWC were scheduled to take part in Diana's Sapporo show on the 15th. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, FWC have been pulled from that show. But do not fear, because they have been replaced by, of all people, Dos Locas de Mexico. Dos Locas Mexico? Basically, it's FWC on the masks, but they will be taking on Risa Zera and Moran. So definitely worth checking out if you can. Then, of course, our main event, BMI 2000 versus Hina and Ron Yagami. I was initially quite surprised that they went with this as the main event. But I suppose, obviously, with BMI 2000 being the champions, it makes sense for them to be in the main event. However, I thought Hina and Ron Yagami did a really good job. Hina especially, I thought was really, really good in this match because, again, we've sort of showered Ron Yagami with a lot of praise on this podcast because, again, she's phenomenal. But Hina here, I think, really, really shone as a babyface, standing in the way of these two absolute killers in Natsuko Tora and Ruaka, Matt.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. As far as like work rate goes, your better matches were the Suri and Miku Kunai tag match versus Yun and Meisera. Obviously, the match we just talked about was the best one. Thoroughly enjoyed Rina and Suzu versus Shuri and Saki Kashima. But this one, it still was a great match. I gave it 4 stars. This one had a whole lot of heat to it. Like the crowd was really invested because they understand we need to boo hate, and they're the tag champs. So you're putting emphasis on, hey, they're the tag champs. They're the technically favorites to win the tournament because they have the belts. And you have 2 over baby faces in Hina and Rani Yagami. And how do you start this match with heat? You get a jump. Of course, BMI 2000 with the jump. They Rana and Hina, they go through pretty much all the chairs in Cork and Hall. And then we get some heat onto Hina. Hina doesn't do much. Hina takes a lot of great heat here and great selling, great pacing, great cutting the ring off from BMI 2000. Eventually, Hina hits 2 desperation judo throws, tags in a very fresh and a very game Rana Yagami. And Rana just kicks the dog out of Tora and Ruaka. And the crowd is all for it because, they want to see their heroes get the win. They want to see the villains get their comeuppance because they cheated in this match. And they've ended a lot of these Cork and Hall shows with BMI 2000 coming away as your winners and your champions. So here comes Rana. This is a great spot for Rana. She got massive reaction here after the hot tag. Again, that's why they call it the hot tag, folks. Really great stuff there. Rana hits, and then we get some really great teamwork with Rana and Hina. They pretty much done this combination in every match where Rana hits the big head kick, and then Rina rolls up the opponent and do a ghetto clutch for a near fall. Thoroughly like that. These two seem to work together. You have the striking with the judo, so they're making that mesh really well. Thoroughly enjoyed that. We get the double freezer bombs from BMI 2000 onto the God's Eye team. That only scores a 2 count. Hina escapes the straight jacket German suplex from Ruaka and then rolls up Ruaka in the ghetto clutch. Me and over 1,000 people in Cork and Hall bit that for the finish. I thought that was going to be the finish, and we were just like 1, 2, oh. The way it was built up was absolutely perfect. Great solid crowd psychology in this match. Ultimately, though, Tora takes out Rana, and then Ruaka hits the German suplex into the straitjacket German suplex combination, putting away Hina. 4 stars for me. A really great match to end what was a fantastic, pure pro wrestling show.
And that was it for night 1, but we moved fairly quickly into night 2 because the exact following day on the 8th of November, we had night 2 coming from Jimes Gunma Exhibition Hall in Takasaki. The attendance, 675 people, which Stardom did announce as a sellout of the venue. Now, the company didn't run the venue during last year's tournament, but this number is a 58.45% increase on their previous attendance at the venue, which was 426 in February, a number that was their previous best at the venue. So a thoroughly thoroughly solid number for Stardom in Gunma. In terms of the results, then, we opened with Tag League Blue Stars match. The Mega Skyscrapers, as they are being referred to, Hanako and Megan Bayne, they moved to 2 points, defeating Sayaka Aurora, Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurora, with Megan Bayne getting the win with the running powerbomb in 10 minutes and 12 seconds. 6-woman tag team match. The hate team of Rina, Konami, and apparent satellite member Ram Kai Chao. They defeated Yuna Mizumori, Mei Seira, and Momo Kogo, with Rina pinning Momo with the Pink Devil in 9 minutes and 53 seconds. More tag league action. The Red Stars this time. Suri and Miku Kanai defeated the Reckless Fantasy team of Waka Tsukiyama and Rian, with Miku Kanai pinning Rian with the German suplex in 8 minutes and 55 seconds. In more Red Stars action, the DLM team of Tia Teleko and Osita, they moved to 2 points, defeating Bozilla and Akira Kuragane, getting their first win of the tournament. Osita pinning Akira, or submitting Akira, should I say, with the body choke sleeper hold in 8 minutes and 11 seconds. We had the 6-woman tag team match, which may have Wonder of Stardom repercussions. Ami Sourei, Lady C, and Kikyo Furusawa defeated the hate team of Saya Kamatani, Konami, and Natsuko Tora. Ami Sourei pinning the Wonder of Stardom champion Konami with the Liger Thunderbolt in 9 minutes and 51 seconds. Final 3 matches are all tag league action. Blue Stars now. Sayurida and B. Priestley moved to 4 points, defeating Anacon, Saori, and Saki Kashima. Sayurida pinning Saki with the Ida Bashi to move to 4 points, keeping Anacon on 2. We then move to the semi-main event and possibly a record-breaking match in terms of longest entrance. O2 line, Azumi and Miyu Amasaki moved to 2 points, defeating, again, I'm not going to even try and pronounce the team name because I get it wrong every time, Suzu Suzuki and Rina Yamashita, with Azumi rolling up Suzu with the Azumi Sushi in 7 minutes and 41 seconds. In your main event, Red Stars action, SaoriPoi, Natsupoi, and Saoriano, they moved to 4 points, defeating the team of Rani Yagami and Hina. Back-to-back main events for Rani Yagami and Hina, by the way. They stay on 0 points. Saoriano pinning Rana with a German suplex in 11 minutes and 58 seconds. Matt, we got our first taste of the Mega Skyscrapers. What did you think of them as a team against Sayaka Aurora?
They were fantastic, buddy. Thoroughly impressed. Again, Megan Bayne won this tournament 2 years ago. Last year, Hanako made it to the finals. So definitely there again, scheduling. Hopefully the scheduling works out, but it does look like that this team's probably going to take one of the 3 playoff spots in Blue Stars. I've been saying the last 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to say it again. Aya Sakura and Hanako has got to be up there for one of the top feuds of the year in Stardom.
Mm-hmm.
They start off the match, which is some great stuff back and forth. I think they're leading to it like a really big match, maybe at Dream Queendom for the Future of Stardom Championship, because there's definitely something there. Really great stuff. Again, Aya and Sayaka have really great chemistry as a tag team, great teamwork, and it's basically speed versus size and strength in this match, and it's an easy story to tell. Megan Bayne and Hanako, they do give Sayaka and Aya quite a bit, and I like how Aya and Sayaka, they realize that they're outpowered here, so they have to divide and conquer, and they do that both on Megan Bayne and Hanako. Eventually, though, the hammer just comes down, the hammer that is Megan Bayne, which is some great stuff. Great teamwork with Hanako and Megan Bayne. They understand how to use their strength in these tournament matches to their advantage, and teamwork. Instant chemistry between the two. Eventually, though, it is Megan Bayne with the Liger Bomb on the Sayaka Kurora. Great match to start off the show, buddy. 3 3/4 stars.
Obviously, not going to spend a lot of time talking about this 6-woman, though it does appear that Ram Kai Chao, as I mentioned, is apparently a satellite member of Hate, which does make sense.
Yeah, out of nowhere, I'm like, oh, here comes Ram Kai Chao. Like, just parachuted in because Hate needs more members.
Apparently, yeah, absolutely.
Fun enough match. 3 1/4 stars.
Tag league action then. Reckless Fantasy. I believe we called the Moonlight Fantasy, which I believe is Waka Tsukiyama's finishing move. So yes, of course, they're Reckless Fantasy. They took on Suri and Miku Kanai. Miku Kanai taking the pin on night 1, getting the pin on night 2 by pinning Rian. But honestly, you talked during the news segment about Lady C and Chikagoto as, forerunners for most improved in terms of Joshi. Rihanna's got to be up there. She really has. In another fantastic performance from her in this match.
You told me that Scotty Wrestling might be coming after me after my comments about Suri before. I'll make another comment. Rianne, she did not give a damn. She looked at Suri and was like, I don't care. I don't care. Are you Stone Cold Rianne? No. Yeah. Are they comparing Suri to anybody in the Attitude Era? No. The Rock, Road Dogg, X-Pac? No. Stone Cold Rianne, like, didn't care. Like, just walked down Suri. I was like, that's a badass, folks. All joking aside, she was really serious and she had some great stuff with Suri. She was thrown and Suri did a great job properly selling, and then you're just like, oh honey, oh poor Stone Cold Rianne. She wound up getting lit up. This was a great match. Again, Miku, they did a great job highlighting Miku Kanai in this match. You figured the matches that Suri and Miku are going to win, it's going to be Suri getting the pinfall, but it was nice seeing Miku Kanai getting the win with a German suplex. Waka and Rianne, they were great as far as match quality goes last year's tournament, and they're better wrestlers now. I thought this was really, really good. This is what when we look back on this tournament, Rob, we're talking about hidden gems and matches in the 15th Goddess of Stardom Tag League. This is one of them because this was great. This was great teamwork from Waka and Rianne, both onto Miku and Suri. Again, Suri giving a lot to both Waka and Rianne, especially with Rianne. But towards the end, I think Suri just kind of plays the hits and is like, hey, let's give this to Miku Kanai because it's going to mean more for her. And Miku Kanai has this really great closing stretch with Rianne. That's a match I want to see. We keep talking about matches on New Blood we want to see with basically the underneath talent because they'll get more time. Give me a 10, 12-minute match with Rianne versus Miku Kanai because their stuff was fantastic. 4 stars for me, buddy. Thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought this was great, but Suri Miku Kanai getting the win.
DLM getting their first win of the tournament. And again, we saw more and more frustration from Bozilla at her partner's seeming incapability of picking up a win. Matt, how do you think that the Luchadoras did standing in the face of someone like Bozilla?
This match was all about the story of Bozilla just looking dominant against these luchadors that she has no idea who they are. It was a lot of 2-on-1 to Bozilla, which Bozilla won 9 times out of 10, which I thought was really funny because they're trying to use the lucha style on Bozilla. And she's like, that's not going to work on me. So you had that story of portraying Bozilla as a monster and the fact that Akira, oh, she just keeps losing. And if you remember when these brackets were announced, she was all sorts of upset that she's teaming with Akira. Then Akira got a win in an 8-person tag match on the last show that we're going to talk about. Bozilla gave her a hug, and then Bozilla put on social media. She's like, I'm still not happy with her because we keep losing.
It was a proper bring her up and then just immediately put her back down.
Yeah, it's like in front of everybody on social media. So that's kind of the 2-fold story here, just making Bozilla look like an absolute monster and then still being annoyed with the fact that she has to keep pulling Akira out of fire. She has to keep coming to her aid. And even if she keeps coming to her aid, it still results in a loss. So you had the fun lucha stuff that didn't work on Bozilla, but yet made it for an entertaining match. Bozilla looking dominant, which I'm always a fan of because she's fantastic. Ultimately, again, it's a divide and conquer where FWC basically take Bozilla out enough so Kagama can choke out Akira. 3.5 stars.
Yeah, again, they need to sell some merch for DLM because they are some very, very good masks and some really cool shirts. So fingers crossed for that merch when we go to Japan. And I do really like that story of Akira having to really, really work to gain Bozilla's approval and it being a big thing as well. It being made a big thing that Bozilla finally gave Akira that little nod after getting a victory. And maybe we'll see a turning of the tides. I still don't think they make it through the block, but I think we might see Akira pick up a couple of key wins to really cement not necessarily a friendship with Bozilla, but certainly, gaining a little bit more respect, which I quite like because again, not every story can be about the titles. So I do like that. Moving on, 6-woman tag. Obviously, again, we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about this, but Ami Sourei getting a clean pin over the Wonder of Stardom champion. And Mike, hasn't been a great week to be the Wonder of Stardom champion. 2 clean pinfalls, the second of which I think could be very pivotal to where we're going towards the end of the year. Ami Sourei, though, a claim for the Wonder of Stardom championship. Now, of course, we've got no pay-per-views between now and Dream Queendom. Do you think Amisori parlays this into a match with Konami, or do you think we could potentially see Amisori be the first challenger to whoever wins at Dream Queendom?
Or artist match, maybe on the third.
Maybe, yeah.
Or maybe on one of those shows on the third, because again, we have Stardom has a lot of stuff going on at the end of the year and beginning into next year. So it's like you can't put everything on Dream Queendom because again, we saw it. You can't put everything on Dream Queendom because we need a match for the Tokyo Dome, which again we got. We're so happy, but there's got to be some sort of match there on the third. So that's a possibility there. Amisori versus Konami. I don't know if that is Sumo Hall worthy. I
No,
mean,
no, Lord, no.
maybe because Ami Sori is in this whole new light coming after the 5-star. I don't know if she's there just yet. Again, at the same time, if you don't try, how will you know? So I wouldn't be shocked if it happens there. I still think it's going to be either Kid or Hanan or
I
Hazuki.
think
Sorry,
it's
I'm
on.
sorry, buddy. I can't let
I've got to put it in there.
I can't let it go.
Ooh, sorry, I assume you mean Tia Tleko.
No, I mean Hazuki. Obviously, two big things to come out of this match. We just talked about Ami Sori getting the win over Konami. That's somewhere they're going to go. And the other thing is with Sai Kamatani, when they announced she's not going to be in this tournament, she's just going to be in matches. I'm like, okay, she's just going to take it easy. Outside of the Kikyo match, the singles match with Cork and all these matches, she's not taking it easy. She's still wrestling. Like, don't get me wrong, she's not wrestling like she's wrestling Tam in Sumo Hall or in Yokohama, but she's still doing the springboard crossbody to the floor, the one on the inside, the spin kick. She's still bumping and feeding and making everybody look good here. I'm like, I thought the whole idea for not having Kamatani in this tournament was to kind of maybe give her body a break from this insane year and a half she's had. She's just like, no, I'm still going to go out there and be Saya Kamatani. Like, she was fantastic. Obviously, Tora, great stuff. As we said before, we're not going to spend too much time on it because it's a non-tournament match, but we're definitely getting Ami Sori and Konami somewhere down the line. I think that's a really solid V1 for Konami because they both work that hard-hitting, right-in-your-face style. So maybe we see it on either a Korakuen show or put it on a match that's not a Korakuen. It's very rare that we see a championship match that's not on a Korakuen or a pay-per-view. Put it on, give one of the other, the, for lack of a better term, B-towns, give them a championship match. I mean, I think that'd be really great. I just said 3 3/4 stars. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I said, great stuff with Ami Sori and Konami. Sai Kamatani is just like, no, I'm not taking. I'm not dulling down my style just because I'm not in this tournament.
I mean, I'm just looking at the schedule. There's not a great deal of dates in December following the end of the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. Of course, they might put a championship match on that pay-per-view. They might well do that because at the moment the only match that is confirmed for that is the Goddess of Stardom Tag League final.
It's only one match, right? Because the two matches on the night before. A good thing.
So the others. So I think that they have to run Konami versus Sairida before the pay-per-view because I think that's how you bring Hanan back.
I agree.
Now, obviously, you have the Korakuen Hall show. In fact, you've got 2 Korakuens in December. Maybe you run that as the main event of a Korakuen. Maybe. Because Sai Kamatani is not defending that red belt before Dream Queendom. We've already got the main event, so we know that that's not going to be the case. However, if you have Konami, because again, I'd like Konami to get defenses. We've all got a drop in it at Dream Queendom. Give us some defenses, okay? I don't think... I'd be surprised if the Reiwa Tokyo Towers are in the final now. I'd be very surprised if Konami and Rina are. So give her a championship defense at that pay-per-view and then give her another championship defense on the 8th or on the 24th. Okay? And then have Hanan come out after her challenge, after Sairida fails and say, right, I'm going to beat you. Or, Konami beats Sairida, Hate beats Sairida down, Hanan makes the save. I think that is probably where we're going, but I think there will certainly be a championship defense on that pay-per-view. They might do Sairida versus Konami there and then have Amisori challenge whoever wins at Dream Queendom or indeed parlay it into an Artist of Stardom championship match.
You're right, because it's a pay-per-view, so other than the finals, you need other matches to support the tickets are almost sold out. At the same time, you still want to sell pay-per-view numbers. I think it's Ami Sori there because she's a bigger star right now than Saida. And then the next week, then maybe after Konami beats Ami Sori on the finals, Ida comes out, challenges her for the next week on the 8th. Konami wins. and then Hanan comes out. Now, I do have one question for you, partner. If Hanan comes out and challenges for this belt, are you ready? Yeah.
Imagine it'll be like the glass breaking for Stone Cold Steve Austin. I will lose my mind.
What would you do? What would you do if Micah's match is a return match? It's Micah versus Han, and they both come out to their old themes in Sumo Hall.
I'm done. I don't think I can recover from that. I
You don't even
don't
want to
think I'm
see.
ready.
You don't want to see Soriano versus Sai Kamatani. You're like,
No, I'll just leave. I'll be like, mate, I won't even stay in Japan. I'll be gone. I'll be like, right, see you later, guys. That's me done now.
He's in England while we're watching Tanahashi and Okada. Like, what happened? I thought Rob was going to be here. Like, they did Hanan's theme, old theme, and Micah's old theme back to back. And then Julia comes out as a special guest referee with her old theme.
Oh, my God. No, can't deal with that. Moving on, then Sayurita and B Priestley getting the win over Anacon. Sayurita winning the battle of the roll-ups against Saki Kashima. Matt, what are your thoughts on this? Looks like Sayurita and B Priestley are going to be contenders in this blue block, certainly.
Brother, what was the time on this one?
9 minutes exactly.
Yeah, I liked this match. I wish it would have got more time.
Yeah, agreed.
As soon as Shuri and B Priestley started going at it, I'm like, oh, Shuri defeated B Priestley back in 2021 to win the SWA championship. So, or maybe it was 2020. But I remember it was being a great match.
2020,
like 20, and they picked up right where they left off. I was like, oh man, these two are really great together. That's a singles match I'd like to see somewhere down the line. Saida and Shuri, we didn't get enough of that as I would like with the chops and kicks. But it was a lot of Saki Kashima kind of trying to pick her spots. Again, it was really good just as it was starting to ramp up. Then you kind of see Shuri and B kind of take each other out, and you get the back and forth roll-ups. Is Ida going to get it? Is Saki going to get it? Is Ida going to get it? So you're on the edge of your seat. You had a really solid match, but you were really kind of on the edge of your seat just waiting to see who was going to get the roll-up into a Saya Ida outfoxing Saki Kashima to get the win. 3.5 stars. Again, really good stuff. I just wish it went a little bit longer, and I wish we would have got more Shuri versus Saya Ida.
Semi-main event, then O2 Line picking up their first win of the tournament. Currently their only win of the tournament. They've unfortunately been hampered by the Stardom cast curse, it seems. But I think this match wins the award for the longest entrance, as I mentioned, because Suzu Suzuki's theme looped twice before they came out. And Suzu, once they eventually did come out through the curtain, Suzu and Rina, Suzu's apologizing to the crowd. I don't know what on earth was going on, but it went on. And then I was like, I was doing something whilst the entrances were happening, as I often am. And it was only when I kept hearing the song that I clicked in, I was like, why is that still going?
Like
and I looked at the iPad and I was like, I knew Jack. Looked at my iPad and went, where are they? Because I thought they're just looping round the venue. No, still not out. So the music continues. And then they hard cut to another round of Suzu's music. It's like, where the bloody hell are they? And eventually they come through the curtain and Suzu's like, yeah, sorry guys, that's on me. My bad. And then they didn't even do like the pose on the ropes because Suzu's like, we've wasted enough of your time. We're just going to get in the ring. We're going to get this match started. And then she gets rolled up with the Azumi Sushi. So it was a bad day to be Suzu Suzuki.
It reminded me a couple years ago when FWCing that Korakuen Hall.
Korakuen, yeah.
And then this is when obviously our friend of the show and just all around friend, Sonny, was working for Stardom at the time. And he was like, if you guys have any questions or need anything from us, let us know. And like with the first question we asked, I was like, why did it take FWC so long? He's like, really, that's the question you're going to ask me?
We had all these questions. You were like, why did it take so long? It was like, it was just a wardrobe malfunction. That was all it was.
You don't want to know about the inner work. You don't need any dirt. No, we wanted me to.
We want to know why. So if there's anyone in Stardom that can tell us why it took Rina Yamashita and Suzu so long to get out of the curtain in Gunma, we'd be very appreciative.
Well, hopefully we have a meet and greet in Japan. We're like,
we'll have to learn the Japanese of what happened in Takasaki. Yeah,
we
exactly.
might have to buy one of the. We'll talk off air. It might be one of those translators that you speak into and they translate back. That I've been looking into that. We'll talk about that off air. What they might have done, Rob. Again, I mentioned 9 minutes for the last match. This went less than 8. I wonder if, like, when they got in the ring, where Terrakata's like, you need to cut down 3 minutes because Suzu messed it up on the entrance, because this was another one that suffered for being too short. Less than 8 minutes for these two teams, these 4 great wrestlers. Like, we've never really seen Zumi and Suzu in a match before. I'm sure they've had tag matches and 6-person tag matches and whatnot. But I mean, a lot of when Suzu got into Stardom, she was pretty much with Neo Genesis. So we haven't seen that Azuzu versus that Suzu versus Azumi pairing off opposites of the ring as much as we would like. And I'm like, oh man, here we go. We're gonna get it. Again, we only got a little bit of it. It was kind of like, oh, it's kind of not let down, but like you were teased with it. You thought it'd get a little bit more, but you really didn't. Again, Suzu and Rina really great as a team, like that sandwich form that they do. Really great stuff. Azumi and Miyu Amasaki using their quickness toward their advantage. Again, really great innovative offense between the two. Thoroughly enjoyed that, but it really seemed like, again, very much like the last match. As it was building, it was Azumi tripping up Suzu with the Azumi Sushi. I had a 3.5 stars, buddy. Again, solid stuff, but like just knowing how great this match could have been had it went 10, 11, 12 minutes, I was kind of like, oh man, oh man. Again,
Oh man.
I'm sorry, I had it 3 3/4 stars. So again, had this got a few more minutes, it definitely would have broken my 4-star mark.
Yeah, it's interesting because this show as a whole, there was only 2 matches that went over 10 minutes. And that was the opener, which went literally 10 minutes and 12 seconds. And then the main event, the match we're going to talk about. And even that didn't go 12 minutes. So it was a really, really fast pace. I mean, there was a lot of matches considering this was, if you want to call it like it was, it wasn't a big show by any stretch of the imagination. There was still a lot of matches on this card. That main event that I've just mentioned, SaoriPoi obviously defeating Ron Yagami and Hina. I love the fact that Ron Yagami and Hina have gotten back-to-back main events because, again, I feel like they've thoroughly earned them. I think they've been fantastic in what they've done throughout the year. And as a tag team, which, again, we haven't seen a tremendous amount of, these two as a standalone tag team, I think they've gelled really, really well. And Natsupoi felt the wrath of Ron Yagami to start off with because, let's put it this way, Ron Yagami attempted to kick Natsupoi into touch on several occasions.
Yeah, you made mention, buddy, Rana and Hina. They get a main event in Cork and Hall against the tag champs, and then a main event here against, let's pretend FWC is not in the tournament, easily the best tag team in the tournament. Even if FWC proper was in the tournament, you can make an easy argument for SaoriPoi.
It will be a conversation to be had, absolutely.
But you can make an easy argument that Natsupoi and Soriano are the best and most exciting tag team in all of wrestling. I mean, they're so flawless together. But I can just see Coach Shuri before this match, we pulled Rana aside and be like, hey, you know how to beat Natsupoi? Kick her as hard as humanly possible. And then just watch tapes of Shuri kicking Natsupoi around the ring from the past few 5-star Grand Prix. Because that's what Coach Shuri brought on. It thoroughly worked. Because Natsupoi is trying to do her fancy offense in the beginning, and Rana's just like, nope. And she just
none of it.
Kicks the crap out of poor Natsupoi. Eventually, Natsupoi hits that beautiful cartwheel into an arm drag. I'll never not be impressed with it. Soriano comes in, and then we just see there's the flawless tag work that is Soriano and Natsupoi again. Very much like Azumi. These two are like cheat code wrestlers. Like, they're just so good. They're great singles, but as a tag team, they just flow so effortlessly. I mean, just really great stuff. Hina then stops the fun with those judo throws. Again, Hina looked great here using that judo background to her advantage on Soriano Natsupoi. Great stuff with Hina and Soriano. Give me that as a singles match, Rob. I mean, I thought these two worked really well together. Great teamwork with Hina and Rana. As we said, the head kicks into the roll-ups that they're using. Excellent stuff there. We get the Hina special onto Soriano. That scores Hina 2 count. Natsupoi tries to come in for the save, but Hina with the STO onto Natsupoi. And then Rana Yagami's like, oh, I want to get on this too. Head kicks to all. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Eventually, though, Soriano and Natsupoi, they have the tag team advantage because they've been tagging together quite a bit over these last 3 years. We see the stereo German suplexes to Hina and Rana Yagami. Soriano follows it up with the perfect plex for a 2 count. And then we get I really enjoyed this, how Soriano and Natsupoi, very much like O2 line, have added new stuff to their arsenal. Yeah. They've been doing a combination superplex, fisherman superplex off the top rope. So instead of Andy and I have tried it 2 or 3 times, the double superplex, because I always do the super, and we always mess it up. So we're like, someone's going to get killed. We need to cut it out. It's a difficult thing to do when you're trying to do 2 suplexes onto one person. We got Natsupoi and Soriano doing a superplex and a top rope fisherman suplex at the same time. Thoroughly enjoyed that. And then on the next show, we talk about they did one just kind of standing. So I'm like, ooh, we're adding more stuff to the already impressive arsenal that is Soriano and Natsupoi. So thoroughly enjoyed that. That opens up the door for Soriano to hit that beautiful German suplex putting away Ronnie Yagami for the 3 count. My favorite match from the show, which seems to be all I say when SaoriPoi are on a show together. 4.25 stars.
That brings us to night 3, and again, the third in a run of Goddess of Stardom Tag League show. Night 3 from the 9th of November. This took place from the Kisai Bunker Hall in Nagano. The attendance 363. It's a 19.02% increase on the previous number. Stardom drew to the venue back in February of 2023. 305 people for that show. So a bit of time between the last time that they ran this venue. Now stands as the highest attendance they have drawn to Kisai Bunker Hall in the 4 times they have run there. Just quickly, Soriano, Rini, and Yamashita both absent from this show due to participation on Oz Academy's Unbreakable Spirit show in Shinjuku Face. Let's run through the results then. We start with a Red Goddess match. Bozilla and Akira Kurogane getting their first win of the tournament to move to 2 points, defeating Aqua Stella, Meisera, and Yuna Mizumori, who remain on 2 points. Bozilla pinning Meisera with a sit-out powerbomb in 10 minutes and 32 seconds. Meisera taking that powerbomb like an absolute champ, by the way. More Red Goddess action. Dos Locas de Mexico, Osita and Teotihuacan moved to 4 points, defeating Reckless Fantasy, Waka Tsukiyama, and Rian, who remain on 0. Teotihuacan pinning Waka with the spell Patada in 7 minutes and 19 seconds. More Red Goddess action. Hina and Ronnie Yagami getting their first win of the tournament, and rightly so. They defeated Sari and Miku Kanai. Hina pinning Miku with a modified jackhammer in 8 minutes and 53 seconds. 3-way 9-woman tag team match. The Stars team of B. Priestley, Momokogo, and Saya Ida defeated the Cosmic Angels team of Aya Sakura, Sayaka, Kurora, and Natsupoi, and the Hate team of Saya Kamatani, Konami, and Rina. Again, really important matchup there. Saya Ida pinning clean the Wonder of Stardom champion, Konami, with the Idabashi in 13 minutes and 29 seconds. I truly do think that's going to lead into Hanon's return and eventual challenge. The final 2 matches, both Blue Stars action. Anacon, Shiori and Saki Kashima moving to 4 points. They defeated O2 Line, because of course they did, with Shiori submitting Miyu Amasaki with the White Tiger in 10 minutes and 19 seconds. In your main event, then, Blue Goddess action. The Mega Skyscrapers of Hanako and Megan Bayne, they moved to 4 points against the Raiwa Tokyo Towers, who made their tournament bow. Amisori and Lady C. Hanako pinning Lady C with the JP Coaster in 13 minutes and 28 seconds. Matt, let's start with Aqua Stella versus Bozilla and Akira Kurogane. Bozilla and Akira Kurogane getting the victory. But let's face it, and Bozilla made this abundantly clear in her backstage comments, this was solely because of the biggest European powerhouse.
This is almost a handicap match. It seemed like all the offense
did feel like that, yes.
Seems like all the offense came from Bozilla. Again, Akira was great. There's, again, great teamwork onto Akira from both Yuna and Meisera. They tried their best to do the same stuff to Bozilla, but obviously that, very much like non-FWC, was not working. Really cool stuff with Meisera and Bozilla, and as well as Yuna and Bozilla. Those are singles matches I'd like to see somewhere down the line. Again, Bozilla had that phenomenal New Japan Strong Championship match with the Zumi back in Cork and Hall in the middle of the summer. So I could see Bozilla and Meisera doing the same thing of absolutely tearing it down. Again, though, towards the end, this was just Bozilla just dominating the high-speed champion and possibly your next high-speed champion in Yuna Mizumori. Bozilla just absolutely squashing all of the juice out of the pineapple, Rob, if I can have a reference here. But ultimately, she crushes the shooting star that is Meisera with the Liger Bomb. 3 3/4 stars, almost 11 minutes. I thought it was enough time to tell the story. A really hot opener to start this one off, with just Bozilla being the dominant monster, just the Godzilla that is Bozilla, grabbing the stars out of the sky and powerbombing them. So there's a lot of puns, buddy.
Love it. Moving on, more Red Goddess action. Unfortunately, Reckless Fantasy still remaining on 0 points as FWC's Lucha Exploits lead them to another victory. Matt Turner, how do you think this match went? What were your thoughts?
This was solid. This was a fun match, but it seemed like the finish came out of nowhere. Like seems like Hazuki hit like that version, like a pump kick or like a side kick, and it looked like Rion was trying to get her Waka was trying to get her shoulder up, with the ref count at the 3, and then it looked like FWC was getting ready to go to the next spot, and the ref was like, "Nope, that was a 3 count." I'm like, "Oh, okay." It really seemed like there was some miscommunications, a little bit in the match as well. Solid enough stuff. Obviously, Waka and Rion, they're terrific as a team. FWC again, they're next level. I just think there was maybe 2 or 3 minutes that were supposed to have in this match that may have deterred away from it. But regardless, always great seeing Waka and Rion team up here. I thought Kagama and Hazuki here, they gave them enough in the match. 3.5 stars for me.
As I mentioned, Hina and Rani Yagami getting their due diligence for 2 very solid main events back to back, getting a big win over Sari and Miku Kanai. Of course, Hina pinning Miku Kanai here. What were your thoughts on this? And obviously, the 2 Stardom youngsters facing off against Sari. Obviously, both have history with Sari after the 5-star Grand Prix, and then of course Rana's Korakuen Hall singles match with Sari. I imagine there's no love lost there in a kayfabe sense, and the God's Eye duo made that known.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Great stuff to start off with Miku Kanai and Rana. Big lockup to start. You get some really great wrestling, great striking. And then we just see pretty much from like minute 2 or minute 3, Rana and Hina really doing a great job cutting the ring off, not letting Sari, because she's the big star and the hammer in this match, really get in. Great teamwork back and forth from Hina and Rana Yagami. If this is the team we see moving forward, Rob, I have no problem with it. I wouldn't mind seeing Rana and Hina maybe make a run at the New Blood Tag Team Championships against Ai and Sayaka. I think that'd be a great program to have and really help the YouTube channel on Stardom Cast. Really great stuff. Sari comes in there and she starts bullying Hina, and then Ronda has nothing to do it. Ronda starts laying him in to Sari, and eventually you know what's going to happen. Sari was able to come back with a Quesador double snob. Seemed like there's a little extra love.
Yeah, a little bit of extra stank on that one, wasn't there?
Yeah, on that double stop. I'm sorry, that was Tahina. Yeah, she really threw that off. We get Miku Kanai. She comes in. She hits that double jump crossbody onto Hina. That scores her a 2 count. And then we get some great teamwork onto Hina from both Sari and Miku Kanai. They've been doing that spot pretty much every match, where the opponent will come up. Well, they'll double whip the opponent off the rope. Then Sari will pick up Miku Kanai, like she's going to give her a belly to back suplex, and then slam Miku Kanai's feet in the opponent's face. And then as the opponent bumps, then she basically slams Miku Kanai down into a double stomp. Again, there's like great like rockers 90s style teamwork from Sari and Miku Kanai. We might call them the rockers of the Goddess of Stardom Tag League, Sari and Miku Kanai. I thought there was really great stuff there. Ultimately, though, we get towards a really great ending sequence with Hina and Miku Kanai as Ron and Sari basically kind of just kick the crap out of each other on the floor. And we get this little mini match, like the 60, 70-second match with Hina and Miku Kanai, with Hina eventually putting away young Miku Kanai with the modified jackhammer. 4 stars for me. I thought this was great. And again, it's really weird that Sari and Miku Kanai are dropping falls. Like, I understand it's Miku Kanai eating the falls, but it's like they've only gotten 1 win in this tournament. But ultimately, this is a big win for the God's Eye duo, my friend.
Yeah, unfortunately, with the tag league, you've got to have some teams that are eating falls,
Sure.
and that leads to some of not necessarily the weird partnerships, but the partnerships where you go, well, why have they not just partnered OP1 with OP2? And it's like, well, who takes the pinfall? That's why you sort of partner these people together. Sari is not taking a pinfall in the Goddess of Stardom Tag League unless it's to someone that they are building a program with. Unfortunately, that is why Miku Kanai is in that tag team, as well as building experience. And she's taking that opportunity with both hands, of course.
OP1 and OP2, we called them SaoriPoi.
That is exactly what we call them, yes. How silly of me. What I should have called them is OPoi1.
Not as good as Matt's 2-poi, but it's still, I mean,
no, it's not as good as Nat's 2-poi.
That's a high bar, buddy, but that one is still pretty damn good, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Give yourself a Barry Horowitz, pat yourself.
I will, don't you worry. Obviously, we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about this 3-way 9-woman tag match. However, again, another challenge undoubtedly set up for that Wonder of Stardom Championship. Saorida pinning Konami clean. Again, I've mentioned it before. I will briefly mention it again before we move on. This, I imagine, will lead to a challenge from Saorida for the white belt. Her first, by the way, which will be awesome. That's going to be a great match. But then I imagine that will ultimately bring Hanan back from injury, who obviously we haven't heard from in a while. I do think that is the direction that we are going for Ryogoku, especially as it was Konami who put Hanan on the shelf. It just makes sense from a storytelling aspect. And to have Konami go through Sayuri the first, her tag partner, I think is a very good way to go, especially when you've got the pay-per-view to come up and you've got two Korakuen Hall shows as well.
Right. Again, I know we made mention because it's a non-tournament match, we're going to kind of breeze through it. I want to say this: if you do have time to watch it, watch this match. This match was great.
Oh, it's high octane fun. Absolutely.
I mean, again, three main things to take out of it. What Rob just said: Saida getting a clean pinfall on Konami, hopefully setting up a future match because these two chop kick. We've seen it before; it works. I want to see it in a big setting for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. The second thing to take out of it, the start with Momo Kogo and Natsupoi was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, Momo Kogo, even though not in this tournament, she's like, okay, I'm not in this tournament. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you just how great I am. She's been great in every single one of these non-tournament matches. And again, Rob, the number 3 thing to take out of it, 9 people in this match, and Saya Kamatani's like, yeah, I can just do 1 or 2 things and bail off. No, she's still Saya Kamatani. Absolutely incredible. I had this match at 4 stars. I thought this was great. Again, I know it's not a tournament match, but if you have the time to watch this match, this was really, really good.
Moving on to our 2 semi-main and main events, both from Blue Stars. Anacon, of course, getting the win over O2 line. Saori submitting Miyu with that white tiger. Matt, they got the 10 minutes that we actually hoped that Azumi, Miyu, Suzu, and Rina would get on the previous night. Again, I think Anacon are one of the most entertaining teams in this tournament at the moment because of that relationship that they have. Saki Kashima finding herself very much relying on Saori, and Saori almost trying to bring that confidence back to Saki in the ring. Ultimately, I really enjoyed this match, even if the result left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth from a very personal standpoint.
Yeah, regardless, this was a great match. We start with Azumi and Saki Kashima, both going for the Azumi Sushi, both going for the Kishi Kasai. They're going for their finish and each other's finish, and everybody's biting on it. And I love it how Miyu and Shiri are diving to break it up. It's not like, oh, they're going to come in and hit the quick boot. They're diving to break it up, and the crowd's biting on it. I'm like, oh my God, can they really end this match in like 4 seconds without Shiri and Miyu getting involved? The crowd bit on it. And Miyu and Shuri sold panic on breaking up the falls. I really enjoyed it because, like, all right, we're really going at it. I talked about how O2 Line has a whole bunch of new tag moves for this tag league. Even Azumi, like of all people, as if Azumi can't get any better. She did this in every match, and I still don't know how she does it. Where basically her opponent whips her to the ropes, she goes in between the second and third rope. She apron penalty kicks the illegal person. Then as the legal person's coming towards her, she basically slides to the bottom rope and then does like a sunset flip combination or sunset flip thing, flips her opponent over, and then hits her opponent with either a drop kick or a penalty kick. I'm like, even Azumi, like, is adding more stuff into her arsenal, making herself somehow better than she already is. Because Azumi, as far as match quality goes, is on an absolute tear this year. Speaking of tear, Shuri gets in there and absolutely tears it into one Miyu Amasaki. I mean, just the forearms, the kicks. You can tell she's working over the knee, going for that white tiger, that basically her version of the stretch muffler. Azumi comes in, makes the save. Again, great teamwork onto Shuri from O2 Line. Eventually, though, it is Shuri blocking the tensai, hits his beautiful running knee strike onto poor Miyu Amasaki, and then locks in the white tiger, tapping out Miyu Amasaki. Really great stuff here. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Wish we would have got more Shuri versus Azumi because we've seen them wrestle before, Rob, and they have really great chemistry. Maybe somewhere down the line, maybe for the IWGP Championship in after Tokyo Dome, pending on what happens there. Regardless, great stuff. 4 stars for me, good sir.
Yeah, I have a feeling that if there was going to be a match that ended sub 1 minute in this tournament, this was going to be it. Thankfully, we didn't. We got 10 minutes of it, which was good. Moving on then, the main event, Mega Skyscrapers versus the Reiwa Tokyo Towers, Matt. A lot of power on display in this match, from the chops of Lady C to the pure power of both Hanako and of Megan Bayne. And then, of course, you've got Amisori, who was such a great all-rounder. It was a really enjoyable match. What were your thoughts on it?
Rob, I'm looking at this render. And remember when we had our long conversation, a great conversation with Megan Bayne, we asked her who her favorite wrestler to wrestle in Stardom is. Remember what she told us?
I know where you're going with this.
Go
She
ahead.
said she said it was Julia.
And why do you think that is?
I think it's probably because of the tan game.
Tell you what, brother, you know me all so well. Yeah,
Absolutely.
That tan game is on another level. You can tell she is on worldwide TV. What a star. Lady C and Megan Bayne started off this match, and this was great. Again, we know Megan Bayne. The time we're getting her with her in Stardom is few and far between. Again, because she's on a signed AEW wrestler, and she's a big star on their TV program. Man, I would love to see Megan Bayne and Lady C get a singles match because they had a really great opener. Hanako comes in here. She's the hammer. We've seen Hanako and Ami Sourei. They have really great underrated chemistry. And then we just see the Tokyo Towers with great teamwork. You know, the chops into the dueling back chops back and forth, the Midnight Express flapjack that they do. Thoroughly enjoy that. Really great stuff. We get Hanako and Lady C with a tackle off back and forth between the two. And then Hanako wins the tackle off on there, but then Lady C comes back with a big boot, almost taking off Hanako's head, which is something because Hanako is one of the biggest, strongest people in this company. But Lady C really brings it to the future of Stardom champion. And then she hits, by she I mean Lady C, she hits the big choke slam onto Hanako that scores her a 2 count. Eventually, we get the waterfalls. Everybody hits a big boot. And then Megan Bayne clears everybody out with that big jumping clothesline that she does. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Then Hanako and Megan Bayne, they hit stalling Harley Race style suplexes. What a visual that is. Because Lady C and Ami Sourei, again, are two of your strongest, biggest people in this company. Hanako and Megan Bayne are probably bigger and stronger. So what a cool visual go right into your finish is the stalling suplexes at the same time, and then the JP coaster putting away Lady C. 4 stars for me. My second favorite match from this show. Thoroughly enjoyed. This is great. And Hanako, Lady C, and I thought this was really smart having them for their first match in the tournament to close the show, or excuse me, their second match of this tournament to close the show, to put an exclamation point on like this is gonna be trouble. This is gonna be trouble for every team in Blue Stars. And it sure was for the former #1 contenders. Again, 4 stars for me, buddy.
And we move to the fourth and final show that we are going to be talking about today. This was from the 12th of November, yesterday, as we record. Night 4 of the Tag League, live from Sendai Pit in Miyagi. The attendance, 308 people. It's a 34.47% decrease from the 470 they drew to Night 4 of the 5-Star Grand Prix on the 2nd of August. But if you remember, that was an absolutely stacked card. It is, though, despite that lack, or despite that decrease, it is the second highest attendance of the last 7 Stardom have run at Sendai Pit, and is well above the average of 298 they currently have of the 20 shows they've run in the venue. Of course, Saori Anou and Rina Yamashita also returned to action on this show after missing out due to being with Oz Academy. The results are as follows then. The Goddess of Stardom at Tag League started off with Red Goddess Action, SaoriPoi, Saori Anou, and Natsupoi, moving to 6 points, defeating Aquastella, Meisera, and Yuna Mizumori, who remain on 2. Natsupoi pinning Yuna with the Fairy Blink in 11 minutes and 30 seconds, which I will never not be impressed with. It's such a cool move. We then had a tag team match. Momokogo and Rani Yagami defeated EXV, Hanako, and Rian. Rana pinning Rian with the Beatmaster in 8 minutes and 37 seconds. We then got a 3-way match. Miyu Amasaki defeating Saya Kamatani and Waka Tsukiyama. Miyu pinning Waka with the Amanahashi Date in 8 minutes and 39 seconds. We then had an 8-woman tag match. The Mavida Loka team of Akira Kuragane, Bozilla, Suzu Suzuki, and Rina Yamashita defeating Azumi, Aya Sakura, Sayaka Kurora, and Kikyo Furusawa. Akira getting the win with the crossface and earning the respect, at least for this match, of Bozilla in 12 minutes and 44 seconds. Red Goddess Action back to the Tag League. Now all 3 of these matches now Tag League action. BMI 2000, Tora and Ruaka move to 4 points, defeating again Suri and Miku Kanai. Ruaka pinning Miku Kanai with that straight jacket suplex in 9 minutes. More Blue Goddess action. Anacon, Syuri, and Saki Kashima, they move to 6 points and are the pace setters in that blue block, defeating Konami and Rina. Syuri submitting Rina with the White Tiger in 9 minutes and 21 seconds. And then your main event, the Reiwa Tokyo Towers, Ami Sourei and Lady C moved to 2 points, defeating Sayarida and B. Priestley. Ami Sourei pinning Sayarida in the battle of who's going to challenge Konami first, apparently, with Ami pinning Sayarida, as I mentioned, with the Liger Thunderbolt in 13 minutes and 21 seconds, with the Reiwa Tokyo Towers closing out a Stardom show for the very first time, which I thought was very nice. Matt, let's talk about this match, and what a match to open this show with. This was, I'm not going to lie, it was my match of the show. I thoroughly enjoyed this. And again, these first 3 matches were on Stardom, Stardom's official YouTube channel. And this one for me was the best possible one you could put on to entice people to go and pay for a subscription to Stardom World.
Buddy, you literally took the words right out of my mouth. This was genius. You started this match off with the show. This was my favorite match of the show and probably my second favorite match of the tournament thus far.
Agreed.
Behind FWC versus SaoriPoi. So I mean, and then maybe my third favorite match might be SaoriPoi versus Hina and Ron Yagami. I mean, they're so special, dude. The fact that we get to watch them in real time and then talk about they're special singles wrestlers, but tag wrestlers as well. Like, they're just great. And again, I mean, let's give a lot of credit to Yuna and Mei Sarah. I mean, just phenomenal stuff. Like the stuff with Mei Sarah and Natsupoi, I thought were great. The forum exchange with Yuna and Natsupoi, that was excellent stuff too. Great teamwork from SaoriPoi onto Yuna and Mei Sarah at different times of the match. Ultimately, though, Mei Sarah with just a little quicker than a hiccup to I believe that is a Gorilla Monsoon reference. Do I have that one right? I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
I think so. Quicker than a hiccup is one Mei Sarah. She's able to dodge a lot of the tandem SaoriPoi offense and does that one jump, one leap Joshi dropkick from the middle rope. And folks, let me tell you, if you've never been in a pro wrestling ring before, it's one thing to do it off the turnbuckle because you have the stability of the corner of the rope. The middle of the rope is the hardest part to balance. The fact that she does it just about every match and does it like perfection, it goes to show you what a special talent one Mei Sarah is. Really great stuff there. Mei Sarah, and then I love this how Natsupoi starts building up her offense, and Natsupoi goes to the top rope to go for the high cross body, and Mei Sarah just drop kicks her out of midair. I was like, oh man, this is match 1. Good luck following that, which nobody did, by the way. I mean, really great stuff. Excellent stuff. Then we get the great the SaoriPoi striking combination onto Yuna Mizumori. Yuna Mizumori comes back with the Hawaiian Smasher for a 2 count. Natsupoi rolls up Yuna with the Fairy Magic. That scores her a 2 count. We get the stereo SaoriPoi German suplexes, and then the Cosmic Angel axe kick to 1 Yuna Mizumori. And then we get that Fisherman suplex combination onto Yuna. Eventually, we get some great near falls back and forth. But it's Natsupoi catching Yuna Mizumori with the fairy ring for the 3 count, 4.25 stars, buddy. Again, it's my favorite match of the show, and I think probably my second favorite match of this tournament. I really think 1, 2, and 3 are all SaoriPoi matches. So again, they're literally picking up where they left off after last year's tournament, because again, it's subjective. You can like what you like, but I don't think too many people didn't have SaoriPoi as the MVPs from last year's tournament as far as match quality goes.
Tag team match, Hanako and Rian versus Momokogo and Ron Yagami. The boundaries between factions are becoming less and less strict. I think you'll find over the last couple of shows. Matt, very quickly, obviously not tag league action. What were your thoughts?
Still really great stuff. Again, Momokogo is absolutely bringing it. She really is. I know there's a picture in Cork and Hall. Somebody took of her that she was watching the rest of the tag league because she was in the basically the dark match where she was just standing above the rafters and watching, and people were like, man, she's every reason to be upset. She's just like, no, I'm going to take advantage of every second I have. It just makes her more endearing. And I think Momokogo is going to come off as such a strong baby face as we get into this last month of the year. Solid match. I thoroughly enjoy this one. 3 3/4 stars for me, buddy.
That brings us to the 3-way, of course. Miyu Amasaki getting the win in a match that includes Saya Kamatani. Saya Kamatani, aside from that win against Kikyo Furusawa, not having the best of times in terms of victories. What was your thoughts? Very quickly, obviously, on this 3-way and a key victory for Miyu.
Really interesting that Miyu Amasaki wins the World of Stardom Championship. Like, they would have changed the belt. Oh, this was not. Oh no, this was
Think it
fun.
was something that they'd checked, really?
Yeah. Again, Saya Kamatani is just playing Saya Kamatani, the great stuff. But ultimately, you get a mini match with Waka and Miyu Amasaki, where it's almost like Waka's 5-star matches, really fast back and forth. Eventually, it is Miyu Amasaki catching Waka with the late capture O'Connor roll. 3.25 stars for me.
It's then the 8-woman tag match. And again, the big talking point of this is Akira Kuragane submitting Kikyo and getting that lovely moment with Bozilla. Obviously, it's not something that is going to last, and she's going to have to continue to pull her weight. But a key victory nonetheless for Akira as her and Bozilla look to push on in this tag league.
Yeah, again, really fun stuff. You got to do a great job highlighting Ai and Sayaka. Kikyo Furusawa, I'm always impressed with her. I made mention how I wanted to see more Azumi and Suzu Suzuki. We got a little bit here. We got a lot of Azumi and Rina Yamashita. As far as actual, like, the best parts of the match, Azumi and Bozilla. Man, they're in the middle of the match and they tear it down. They pick up right where they left off in that match the year candidate they had in Cork and Hall. Eventually, though, we do get Kikyo and Akira, and we obviously seen them in the ring with each other quite a bit over these last few months. They have really great chemistry, and it is Akira forcing Kikyo to tap out. Akira gets the big win, and Bozilla's like, all right, good for you. And then, like, okay, the heck with you. Worry about tomorrow. 3.5 stars. Really fun stuff.
All three, as I mentioned, are tag league action from here, and obviously BMI 2000 getting the win over Suri and Miku Kanai. Miku Kanai eating another pinfall as we assumed she would be here. It's nice to see, though, almost on the inverse of Miku Kanai eating all the pinfalls, that it's Ruaka who is achieving the pinfalls for the champions as well.
Yeah, very excellent way to point out. I really thought Sari and Miku Kunai would get a win here because I would like to see that maybe as a championship match heading into Dream Queendom because Sari's a big star. Miku Kunai is so impressive. Again, not only in this tournament, but what we've seen of her over the last 6 months, not only in Stardom, but against Sendai Girls New Blood as well. BMI 2000, they're really, I mean, they've really, I mean, they've been great for a while. They really upped their game since winning the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Championships, and especially in these few matches we've seen so far in the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. You know, you kind of figure you know how it's going to start, buddy. They start off with a big brawl. Suri and Miku Kanai are getting thrown around the building, and you just know it's a matter of time. Suri gets in the ring and then gets full mounted forearms onto Ruaka. Literally the point I thought Ruaka was going to be part of the mat. Like, she's just going to be part of the mat now with all the other logos. Like, that's it. She's just part of the mat. I just love it whenever you get either heels or these young upcoming wrestlers start slapping around Serene. Like, you know it's gonna, and you just can't wait for it. Like, you know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know it's gonna happen, and then it happens. Where it's like, oh, great stuff there. We do get some heat onto Cerise. Cerise able to come back with the Quesador double stomp, and then follows it up with a fisherman suplex onto Ruaka. They tag Miku Kanai tags in, and Suri sets up Miku Kanai for that great double jump high cross body, very much like Nagisa Takebana over there on Marigold. I really enjoyed that. That scores Miku Kanai a 2 count. Great stuff with Suri and Natsukatora. Again, Rob, that's a singles match I would like to see. Let's have maybe the referee let the rules go a little bit. Let's let the two just kick the crap out of each other because they have very hard hitting styles. So that was really fun stuff. Ultimately, we get this great stuff with Miku Kanai and Ruaka towards the end, with Ruaka hitting that patented straight jacket German suplex, putting away the one Miku Kanai, young Miku Kanai. 3 3/4 stars for me.
Semi-main event time. Anacon continuing their very good run in this tournament, this early run in this tournament against Konami and Rina. Again, I imagine that Anacon are going to get one of the spots. I'd be very surprised if they don't get one of the spots heading into those playoffs and semifinals. Konami and Rina falling further behind. And again, it's a bad time to be Konami, apparently. A submission victory for Saori, though.
Rob, you probably had the same thought as I did, and probably a lot of our listeners as well watching this match. We never got the Shuri and Konami proper blow off. We were supposed to get it at Queendom Shuri with the 9-second knockout, and then it was like, okay, that's, and I understand if it's a legit fight, like what more do you need to see?
Mm-hmm.
We never got that big match, and these two are kicking the crap out of each other. I'm like, I want to see it. And I know Shuri's IWGP champion now. Konami's Wonder Stardom champion now. They're in a different and better light than they were 7-8 months ago. I don't know where they go. Again, I still think Shuri's coming out of the Tokyo Dome as champion, IWGP. And we don't think Konami's going to have a long run. Let that maybe be a match either at a Korakuen or one of the pay-per-views in the early spring. Great stuff there. Saki Kashima, again, she's like afraid of Konami, but like still gets in there from time to time. Great stuff with Rina and Shuri as well. I thought those two gelled really well. But again, for me, partner, the money in this match was just the brutality, that MMA style of Konami and Shuri. It's a pair that always works. Whenever they go back, it works again. Again, I just want that big blow off. Give me that big 15, 16, 17-minute match on a big platform and let them show everybody what they're great at. Again, excellent stuff there. Konami hits a big head kick. That leads to Rina with a jackknife pin onto Shuri. Again, great teamwork with Konami and Rina. Really great stuff there. Eventually, though, we have Shuri and Rina. We get the two of them kind of going back and forth. Again, a really great sprint finish with Shuri and Rina, with eventually Shuri she's just too cagey, too crafty, knows how to use her style, putting away the young Rina with the White Tiger yet again. Seems to be her go-to hold in this tag tournament, really establishing that as one of her better finishes. 4 stars for me, my friend. This was great. My second favorite match from the show.
And then we move on to the main event, which, of course, saw Reiwa Tokyo Towers get a victory over Saorida and B. Priestley and close out the show for the first time, which was a nice little touch as well. Matt, what were your thoughts on this? And what have been your overall thoughts on Saorida and B. Priestley as a team? Obviously, the sole stars representation in this tag league.
I'm thoroughly enjoying them as a team. Again, B. Priestley comes in with a lot of star power. Again, coming off NXT, coming off WWE, former World of Stardom champion, former SWA champion. Her and Jamie Hayter made it to the finals of this tournament back in 2019, losing to Arisha Oshinki and then the soonly returning one Tam Nakano. No, I don't know if that's true. I'm just a lot of wishful thinking from Matt Turner on this podcast today. I think that they're gelling really well together. I think they have they're getting better each and every outing. What I like about this is it's the main event. They gave it over 13 minutes and they wrestled a main event style where it was like we can slow down and tell our story. Like we're both baby faces in factions that are over, that people respect. So this was a great, pure professional wrestling tag match where it's like, what's at stake here? 2 points. There was no bending, breaking of the rules. There was great singles wrestling, great tag wrestling. Ami Sourei and Saida have this great unspoken chemistry. They had, if you remember, Rob, a few months ago, I believe it was in Ami Sorei's hometown, a hidden gem of a match in this year's 5-star Grand Prix. And this this past 5-star Grand, there was all sorts of hidden gems, but I think it was the main event in Ami Sorei's hometown. And I remember, like, when we reviewed it, like 3 minutes in, of course they would have great chemistry because they're both hard hitters. The chops, the lariats, the forearms, the tackles, the selling, the firing up. And that's what happens here. They basically just took a part of their match they had in the 5-star Grand Prix and inserted here. And again, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So there's great stuff there. Ultimately, for me, the best parts of this match was Ami Sourei and Lady C. They've just been teaming together, obviously, a lot longer. So it's their tag team work that ultimately divides and conquers and takes apart the former World of Stardom champion in B. Priestley and the former Goddess champion in one Saida. So I thoroughly like that. There was some great stuff here. And I like how we do have the great, like I said, great tab work with B. Priestley and Saida. We've seen it before. We'll probably see it again, how B. Priestley hits that big super kick, and that leads into the Itabashi. That's a great 1-2 punch, 1-2 kick. A pun intended there. Ultimately, though, it is Ami Sourei putting away Saida with the Like a Thunderbolt. My favorite, or excuse me, my second favorite match from the show. I'm sorry, obviously my favorite match was the opener with SaoriPoi versus May and Yuna. 4.25 stars for me, partner. Thoroughly enjoyed this. Again, this was a really great show with the opener being great, the middle of the card still being really good, but those last 2 matches with Sherry and Saki versus Konami and Rina, and this to close out the show. Again, I think this Goddess tournament, to the shock of nobody, so far has been thoroughly enjoyable.
Yeah, absolutely. The shows have breezed by. They really have. And there's been some stellar performances. I think that Aqua Stella, because it was Stella, have been a very good tag team. I think that SaoriPoi have obviously been the pace setters in terms of match quality. And I think the inclusion of Megan Bayne has been fantastic. FWC clearly absolutely loving life as the masked luchadoras. So lots and lots to be excited about. Syuri and Saki Kashima as well, another great team in this tournament. Just want to quickly run through night 5 of the tournament, which happened today. I'm just going to quickly run through the actual tag league action. Miku Kanai and Saori defeated Bozilla and Akira Kuragane. Miku Kanai pinning Akira with the jackknife. We then had, again, 0-2 line losing to Konami and Rina. Konami submitting Azumi with the sleeper hold. We then had in the main event Aqua Stella defeating Reckless Fantasy in the main event. Obviously, Hachinohe is Rian's hometown, with Mesera pinning Rian with the Sayonara or the Goodbye Peace powerbomb, which I know Matt is a big fan of. That leaves us 5 matches in, or 5 shows in, with the current tag league standing. So in terms of the Red Goddess block, it is SaoriPoi who sits at the top with 6 points, a perfect 3-0 record currently. We've then got 4 teams, in fact, on 4 points. BMI 2000, Aqua Stella, FWC for the sake of calling them that, and Sari and Miku Kanai. That leaves Bozilla and Akira Kuragane on 2 points, and Hina and Ronnie Yagami on 2 points, and then propping up the rest of the block is Reckless Fantasy on 0. In terms of Blue Stars, again, those pace setters, Suri and Saki Kashima, they currently lead the block on 6 points. We've then got 3 teams on 4 points, which is B Priestley and Saya Ida. We've also got the Mega Skyscrapers, Megan Bayne and Hanako, and Rina and Konami. We've then got on 2 points 0-2 line and the Reiwa Tokyo Towers and Saya Kurora, and then propping up the block, obviously, are Suzu Suzuki and Rina Yamashita. Matt, looking forward, we've obviously got tag league action from Sapporo this weekend. It's the only 2 shows that we have got next week. So the 15th and the 16th, we have got Stardom shows where Stardom are collaborating with Diana as well. But we haven't got a show then until the 23rd. So a nice bit of a break for those tag teams and allows for Megan Bayne to perhaps get some bloody rest. But those matches, I'm just going to go through the actual tag league matches as opposed to everything else. Just I'm wary of time. On the 15th, we have got the Mega Skyscrapers versus Konami and Rina. We have got Saya Kurora versus the Reiwa Tokyo Towers. B Priestley and Sayarida versus Suzu and Rina, which obviously has been already forfeited. Hina and Ron Yagami versus Reckless Fantasy, and then what is currently scheduled to be your main event, FWC versus Aqua Stella, which is going to be very, very exciting. Night 2, which is the 16th, we have got the Reiwa Tokyo Towers versus Konami and Rina, B Priestley and Saya Ida versus the Mega Skyscrapers, Aqua Stella versus Hina and Ronnie Yagami. And again, currently listed as the main event, but will probably be changed around a little bit. I imagine Natsuko Tora and Ruaka against Waka Tsukiyama and Rian. So again, Matt, by the end of next week's episode, we will have 5 block nights left. Okay. One of those, of course, is your brackets. Okay. The playoffs and the semi-finals. So technically, we've actually only got 4 nights of block action after Sapporo, with the last night being the 28th in Kyoto. It is worth pointing out, by the way, that KBS Hall is in Kyoto, which is Miyu Amasaki's hometown.
Yeah.
So
she lost in the 5-star to Saida. Remember, my wife was ticked because I toured that and she lost points today. So she's not going to lose 2 in a row. Stamp it down. Guaranteed win for Miyu Amasaki. Remember, folks, if I say guaranteed and we're at the roulette table, you bet on the opposite thing.
Shall we have a look at who they've got as well?
Please do. I don't care who it is. FTR. I don't care.
Don't care. We have got Saya Kurora.
That's a win, baby.
It has to be a win. It has to be a win.
I bet you they win the rest of the thing. Buddy.
It wouldn't surprise me. I imagine they'll sneak through on that final night.
Like Momo Watanabe did.
Exactly. We've also got BMI 2000 versus FWC and SaoriPoi versus Sari and Miku Kanai on that final night. They're 100% saying up Poi and Sari. They're 100% setting that up, obviously. They have to be. As I mentioned, there is going to be some Diana participation on these Sapporo shows. We're going to see Kiki Furusawa versus Nanami. We're going to see the return of Hanoka. We're going to see the return of Haruka Umasaki, Mitsuki Kato. We're going to see Rina Amakura come back as well, who you might remember from the Triangle Derby back in 2023. We got Yuri, who was going to be on this show alongside Maika Ozaki. So yeah, we've got some really interesting cards coming up from Sapporo between Diana and Stardom.
Is that Yuri that wrestled Mirai at the Stardom show?
Indeed.
Oh, I was thoroughly. Yep. I only seen her a few times. I was thoroughly impressed with her. Oh man, I love it. Haruka Yamasaki's back for these shows too. More things to get excited about, buddy. It's easy to be excited when you're your Uncle MT. Let me tell you.
Absolutely. We've also got the return of Kohaku as well, who recently dropped the Regina de Wave Championship to Itsuki Aoki. And we've also got Natsu Sumire, who will be teaming with FWC, which is great to see her back in the Stardom fold. Matt Turner, obviously, that wraps up our Goddess of Stardom coverage, almost 3 hours worth of Goddess of Stardom coverage. We hope you've enjoyed it. But where would we be if we didn't wrap up the Stardom cast with an Io and Kairi watch?
And we talked about, for as wrapped at almost 3 hours of great tag team wrestling around the horn. So we may as well end it with some great tag team wrestling in Boston, Massachusetts. John Cena's final appearance in his home area. I was shocked that John Cena did not have the final spot on the show. Obviously, big thanks to our main man, Darren Chatton, who basically said, man, all you got to do is rewind all the way to the end for the main event. So this was the main event on the show that had John Cena winning the Intercontinental Championship. So I thought this was a great statement. Rob Goodwin, main event of this show, the Women's Tag Team Championships are on the line as the champions of Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss defend against Kairi and Asuka, also known as the Kabuki Warriors. Match starts off, and Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair double Thez press onto Kairi and Asuka. Charlotte Flair is just running all sorts of big bombs onto Asuka. Eventually, we have a blind tag. Kairi comes in and smashes Charlotte Flair with the top rope elbow smash. Charlotte Flair comes back. It's a big boot that sends Kairi to the floor. However, Asuka distracts Charlotte Flair, and Charlotte Flair eats another elbow smash onto from Kairi. Back in the ring we go. We get some heat on Alexa Bliss after the commercial break. Alexa Bliss hits a double DDT onto Asuka and Kairi. That leads to the hot tag to Charlotte Flair. Charlotte comes in. She hits a top rope crossbody onto both members of the Kabuki Warriors and then trades chops back and forth. Or she chops both Kairi and Asuka. Charlotte then hits a moonsault onto both Kairi and Asuka. So both Kairi and Asuka, they're getting their butt kicked at the same time from the former Miss Everything here in WWE. Really great stuff there. We get a forearm exchange between Charlotte Flair and Asuka, which was really, really fun. That was great. We do see Charlotte Flair. She counters a spin kick with a German suplex onto Asuka. Asuka comes back and she hits a spin kick and locks Charlotte Flair into the crossface chicken wing, also known as the Asuka lock. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Asuka then hits a pop-up knee and a rolling armbar onto Charlotte Flair. A lot of great stuff with Charlotte Flair and Asuka. If you remember, they opened up WrestleMania 34 in New Orleans with an absolute banger. This part was awesome. So now we're hitting double team moves. We're kind of going back and forth. The match is getting a little bit rushed, but it's still really good. This ending sequence was fantastic. Charlotte puts Asuka into the figure four. She starts bridging up for the figure eight. From the top part of the screen, Kairi's climbing the top rope. And I was like, oh, I know what's coming. Kairi's totally going to break this up with the insane elbow. As Kairi comes down with the insane elbow out of nowhere, here comes Alexa Bliss, grabs Kairi as she's coming down, hits the sister Abigail onto Kairi, which I thought was great. However, when she hits it, because there's so much going on, that Kairi kind of rolls over the referee, and out of nowhere, Nia Jax, yes, the Nia Jax that plays higher in the PWI Women 250 than Mayu and Starlight Kid. She comes in with Last Legend. They cause the distraction. That opens up the door for Kairi and Asuka to hit the assisted insane elbow, pinning Charlotte Flair as we have new tag team champions, Rob. Asuka and Kairi win back the women's tag team championships, but we're not done yet. We get a 4-on-2 beatdown as Lash Legend and Nia Jax, yes, higher in the PWI with a 250 Nia Jax Them and the Kabuki Warriors have a 2-on-1 advantage, start beating down both Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. Then the return of one Io. Io comes in, she cleans house a little bit, but it's a 4-on-3 numbers advantage. So quickly it goes back to the heels, and then you know what's coming. The crowd is already chanting Rhea, 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 and then now comes one Stone Cold Rihanna. No, Rhea Ripley comes in. She beats up everybody, and then she grabs the microphone and says War Games. So it looks like War Games is going to be Rhea, Io, Alexa, and Charlotte Flair versus Nia Jax, Last Legend, Kyrie, and Asuka. So thoroughly looking forward to that one, my good friend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a great match. And again, thank you always, Darren, chatting for the time cues. Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up our coverage of the first 4 nights of the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. Thank you for sticking with us. It's been another long episode. We appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, please consider doing so. You can also leave us a like or a subscribe or a comment. It's all free ways to help the podcast out. You can, of course, subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/the Stardom Cast for loads of bonus content, as well as our show reviews, our show previews, and all of our archived episodes as well for as little as $1 a month. You can find us on social media at the Stardom Cast, apart from on Threads, Instagram, or Blue Sky, where we are Talk Joshi. You can find me on Twitter at Real Rob Goodwin, Mr. Matthew of House Turner. First of all, enjoy your time in New York over the weekend. Secondly, sign us off, good sir.
Folks, questions, comments, suggestions. If you see me and Andy Header at the big event in New York, come over and say hi. If you need to get a hold of me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and or the Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and best way to get a hold of me. Or you can shoot me an email. The email address simply is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for the first episode of the Goddess of Stardom Tag League review. We greatly appreciate your support. Hope you guys enjoyed it, because we can't do it without you. Like I always say, it's just not my podcast. It's our podcast. Because when all together, everybody's different. Everybody's special.